right, we will see how much of this battery, how long this battery holds out for.
Yeah, I'll see how long mine holds out for too.
That long.
Apparently.
Was it turned left on?
No, but it was not charged.
You've got like 10 hours per charge?
I have nothing. Oh, now I do.
Oh, welcome back.
The light literally went off. I don't know what's.
Oh, so did it go off or did it start to do this?
No, it was off. Like.
You should
Give me another battery.
You should have 10. What?
Give me another battery and then you can charge
No,
that.
it's all right. It's okay.
Just another battery.
It will be whatever it will be.
I need like screen wipes.
Life is what you make it. Something, something. Are we?
I don't have one handy. It's going to take too long to find it, I think.
No, I know we're going live. I know we're live. That's not the question. The more so, like.
Nope. Oh, wait. Hang on. You know what? I think I know where they are. Sarah was on her. Sarah's going to be late.
Yes.
And Mike? I have no idea on Mike.
No idea, Mike. Copy.
Okay, I'm trying to get back on the chat here.
So here's what we're going to do, everyone. Because of daylight saving time, here you go. I neglected to tell Sarah in advance and remind. I neglected to tell everyone, so this is ultimately on me.
Way to go, Ben.
I know. But I forgot to remind everyone that daylight saving time kicked in, or turned off, actually. And the show doesn't honor daylight saving, right? Because we're in coordinating universal time. So...
Go standard time.
Yep. So here in California, I think it was Prop 7, right?
Yep.
So Prop 7 passed in California, which basically allows the government to start the talks with, allows our local Californian government, the state government, to talk with the federal government to get permission to stay on daylight saving time year-round. What's interesting is that states like Hawaii
Why
and
don't we just stay on standard time?
actually, daylight saving time does make more sense.
Sure.
But that is an interesting question because you can legally stay on standard time without issue. The federal government doesn't need to get involved. That's already allowed. What's not allowed federally is staying on daylight saving time year-round. And so they need to start that conversation with them, something.
I think just at a national level, we should get rid of it.
I do too, but individual states are the ones that approved or disapproved it, so I think it's kind of hard for the federal government to go back in and override the states. But like once California goes, you're going to start to see other states, I think.
I just don't want it to be daylight saving time because that cuts into like observation time for telescopes and things like that.
No, the amount of time that the sun is up is the same regardless of what we call our time zone.
No, because in California, we're going to make the sun be less more often.
Yes, but like at a place like Griffith, we really want to deliver to the public the best view through our telescope possible. So during summertime, if we stuck with daylight saving time, sunset doesn't happen. I think the latest sunset we have at Griffith is like at 8:09 p.m., something like that.
Sure.
Which that would mean that we would literally have like an hour and a half of our telescope operating where the sun is going to be interfering with whatever we're looking at.
You just change the time. By moving to daylight saving time, you're changing your clock. So instead of doing that, just start your thing an hour later as if daylight saving had kicked in.
We can't do that.
Why?
Because the city of LA won't let us stay open late enough to make that happen.
That's stupid.
Right. So
Trust me. I've had
here's
this
what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. If we no longer change times, everybody that has something that relates to time is going to adjust the times that they work. So your business may be open from 9 to 5 now, and with daylight saving time, it may be 8 to 4. Or it may be 10 to 6.
That's what we're saying, but what Jared is saying is that that LA County won't allow them to stay open later.
Well, city of LA.
The city of LA, so not the county.
City of LA. We're a municipal observeratory.
Oh, for Pete's sake, fine. So the city of Los Angeles won't allow Griffith Observatory to stay open later, but I feel like if Prop 7 passed, so it's not a Prop 7 thing anymore, but if the state legislature is able to push through permanent daylight saving time, so we're always -7, then one could make Griffith might be able to make the argument of, hey, push everything backwards an hour because all of our clocks change by an hour.
Potentially. And I've had this discussion with a lot of patrons at Griffith where they're like, you close at 10 p.m.? Aren't you an observatory? Aren't you supposed to be open at night?
You should be observatorians!
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could, but, you know.
Lisa, the fish are gray. Is that normal?
Well, I did change the clock on the automatic feeder because it was still an hour off.
Oh.
I mean, I usually change color.
We need to turn... Yeah, we need to actually... Lisa's not in, right?
Lisa is in YouTube, so yes, she is.
So, Lisa, your aquarium is making lots of noise because the water level is dropping, and so I'm going to turn it off for the show, but can I just dump water in there, or do you need me to, like, do something to the water before I just dump it?
How do I make this?
Yeah.
The pH has never been balanced before. What's it matter now?
Do we need to drop some alkali water in the in there with the fish?
Lisa,
I mean, that's
Lisa
all the
said
rage
don't
right now.
change the clock.
They're still visibly pink and blue.
That's fine. She said don't change the clock.
Yeah, fish don't observe the time change.
Yeah.
So.
Fish
Yeah,
don't
my dogs were like all out of whack this week. They were like, "What are you doing? What are you guys doing?"
That German guy off YouTube says, do not turn off the filter. The filter just literally filters the fish from the frickin' water anyway in some cases.
Actually, did you seriously change the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Lisa, you're going to need to run me through what we need to do to undo that so that you know that it's feeding.
How do I do
Send me an
this?
email.
No.
It's just a button of changing the time.
Yeah, but it's not just time, it's the feeding system. So it's possible that the feeding system no longer works.
The fish go well with vinegar.
Yeah,
That's
malt
what Lisa's
vinegar.
saying.
Yeah.
Well, there was a little bit of food just sitting on the top of the tank that I pushed in, and they went
Nuts.
batshit crazy over
Well,
it.
they always do that, they're fish.
But-
Yeah.
but
Yeah. The problem is Lisa's not back for a week, so we need Lisa, give me instructions to make sure the automatic feeder is still working, and I'll process that.
Add water, but let it
Did Lisa just get Ben to walk her dog? I don't understand.
Yes, she did. Please add water, but let it sit overnight first so the chlorine...
Yeah. You know, Ben, if you think this is tough, wait till you get a husky.
I'm not getting a husky.
So
Not
just
getting a
saying,
husky.
Just
Nope.
saying. Or a pomsky.
Nope.
We should do, all right, so should we do a little bit of a hangout thing since
Sure.
while we're waiting for Mike and Sarah?
Let's hang out.
All right.
I'm trying to figure out how to make my screen stay on. This is so old I don't remember how to do that.
Yeah.
You mean besides
literally stopped scrolling
touching
for a
it?
second. When you turned that off, they were like, "Oh,
Jim Burr? Yes, her name is Lisa. Oh, by the way, Lisa, my mother sent over something for you. Kind of, she sent over a suggestion for you.
that is in space."
Wow, look at that.
What does Dada do? Oh, is it coming up off the wall?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You make that sound like a surprise.
Yeah,
Our planet got dusty. There was a dust storm. Ha
There's a ridge right here where the bottom panel sticks out just a little
Yeah,
bit,
yep.
and there was dust sitting on that little spot.
we're going to have to clean off our planet.
Yeah.
Is this a demo of the new invisible spacesuit? Yes. Also, our gravity plating on the station is allowing us to stay seated, or our butts have Velcro.
Yeah, I got hook and loop on my ass.
I only have inappropriate things to add to that. I can't. I can't.
So we're live, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
live.
just
Yeah.
making sure.
Yeah, I'm just reading through the chat room. I figured I'd just kind of do like a quasi hangout with everyone prior to the show.
Yeah, because I mean, we're just chilling.
Hey, so like, which one of us doesn't get a table?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking about that. It's almost like we should get one more so we can have one on
It's
either
almost
side.
like we should get one more.
Jesus, really? You want more moon tables?
Moon tables.
Moon tables?
Moon tables.
Oh, man.
I love them.
Whoops.
So, yeah. So with the new format, There were some comments. There were a few comments. One of them was, did we? Let me see the comments. I don't remember what I chose.
2 more tables to balance.
At the bottom? There was one. The middle one.
Is it the signal noise one?
This one. Yeah. What was your issue?
So we'll talk a little bit about one of them in the show. But some of the other things that were mentioned were, I'm starting to miss the guests, and part of what forced this is that we kind of ran out of guests, and I don't know that we're going to get very many more at the end of the year. This is a really, really hard time to get guests for us. It has always been really hard
Holidays.
for us.
Wow, Lisa,
So-
yeah, he did choose the comments, and no, he doesn't remember which ones he chose because there was a lot of comments. You know how this works. Oh, maybe you don't. Do you not choose the comments when you do the show?
Yeah, so I go through a lot of stuff in pre-show, and I choose and reject a lot of comments, and I don't necessarily remember what I chose. I knew that I'd chosen one that talked about the show format, but I didn't remember which one was actually the one that I chose to go into the show. There is thought that goes into all of these things. Anyhow.
How much thought, though?
Not much.
No, if
That's
she's
the
going to throw
question.
shade from that far away, she's getting it back. I'm sorry, that's just the way this works.
Dare I say, boomerang. Boom.
Not
Australian
That's
joke.
not. But she's in,
Boomerang.
she's in New Zealand.
They have boomerangs in New Zealand.
I don't
Do
think
they?
so. They have a lot of sheep.
A lot of sheep.
Although they're switching over to cows,
Velcro
which
gloves
is apparently
are like
tanking
kind
the
of a
economy.
thing.
I don't know. So
The cows are tanking New Zealand's. Okay.
I don't know.
Bovines.
That's just what I have a coworker who just came back from vacationing in New Zealand, and he said that basically everything on the news there is about switching over to cows, and then occasionally, wow, America is losing it. So
I mean, to be fair, every country should have a boomerang.
You're not wrong.
At some point.
So,
but they're not really
I like
known
boomerangs.
for
They're pretty cool.
boomerangs. They kind of.
Is there like a
So-
certain way you have to throw it in order to make it come
Yeah, I
back?
think so, right? You
Or is
gotta-
it just like the way it's shaped just lets it come back normally? So,
I don't know. When I throw it, it just hits the ground.
So I've never actually thrown one.
I feel like Jared throws a boomerang.com.
It's always good that somebody actually listens to me. Thank you.
Okay, so one of the comments was miss the guests. Really hard to get guests at the end of the year. So we understand that. My current plan, which I'm not sure will work, is that we're going to keep the roundtable format even when we have guests in. We're just going to add guests to the roundtable format. And so instead of having one person interview the guest, I feel like this is a really great way to just have a bunch of space nerds get together and geek out about space. What are you doing?
I almost dropped it.
This is why you can't have nice things.
You're not wrong.
And generally speaking, the guests that we bring on are space nerds. Can you imagine Tori Bruno being on the show just the whole time, just
Nerding out with us.
Just nerding out with us.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Jim Burr, we are actively looking for one, but we couldn't find anything that we liked. That's
Oh
what
yeah, we need
happened.
a nice oval table. Yeah.
I could take the legs off of the other one.
No, that's not right.
Hi, Everyday Astronaut on YouTube.
Hello, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut.
Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut.
Or an asymmetric table so game a lot. Yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking, and I don't know how well this will work, and it will definitely work better and for some guests and worse for others, which is we'll bring the guest on for the entire show, and they'll be here, and we'll all interact on the space news part, and then we'll still do the guest interview segment of the second part, but it's going to be like 4 against 1 kind of thing, right? But it's still not going to be. It's going to be a much more casual, just all of us still nerding out about space. Because the fundamental thing about this show, and the thing that I think we forgot for a good chunk of Orbit 10, is that we're just a bunch of space nerds nerding out about space. I think that's our new slogan, a bunch of space nerds nerding out about space. And so I want to find space nerdy guests. And the neat thing about this is, when you do that, you don't necessarily need to have guests every week that are CEOs of a new rocket startup. We can bring on anyone that wants to turn nerd out.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you just want to sit in here and we just want to geek out over space stuff, like, cool, let's just do that.
Yeah, come on down.
Come on down, we'll give you a microphone and it'll be fun. I have no idea if this will work or if this will epically fail, but we're going to try it.
It's going to be amazing.
One way or another, it's
Yeah.
going to be amazing.
I mean, crash and burn's beautiful sometimes. So.
We're pretty good at that. We've become experts at crashing and burning here.
Hey, Peter Quinn off of YouTube suggested we get everyday astronaut Tim as a guest.
We've had Everyday Astronaut
Twice.
Tim. Everyday Astronaut Tim.
That's what it says.
It's Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, everyone. That is. And by the way, why is your username not Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut?
It's too many syllables.
Well, it's too bad.
Well, not only has Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, been a guest, but he has also been a participant. What am I trying to say? A contributor?
An interviewer.
So Marinix is not.
Yes.
Marinix is not on board with this. So much less news because of all the forced after item talk. Worse interviews because no one is always. Because one-on-one is always better. Actually, I fundamentally disagree with the idea that one-on-one is always better. We've actually found that multiple hosts interviewing talent is substantially better. That's why we moved to a multi-host thing on science.
About to say.
It is night and day difference between the two. So I disagree with that. I will say, and we'll talk about this. It's actually one of the comments that came up in the show. Actually, was it yours? Let's see who's it.
The second one?
No. That the signal noise ratio in the show, where we got a lot more noise. I understand. I actually do like the point of the look. The point of the show being live is that we can have conversations. If we're just going to have, if we're just going to have short news snippets,
Fat freaking green everything.
then why are we live at all? Why are we including you? We should just not go live. Just do a quick little news snippet, upload it, and be done with it. But there are plenty of places that you can get that. Just go to spacenews.com. Just go to whatever. We are building. Ultimately, what we're here to do is build a community and start conversations. And that conversation is going to have a bit of noise in it, and that's okay. I think the shows are too long now. We need to shorten them up. But yeah.
The American model of the late night TV shows that I don't know, started with Ed Sullivan, I guess, but like Johnny Carson and even up to today, is a host talking to a guest, and typically they'll bring out the first one and then stack the second one and then stack the third one, but you don't get a lot of interaction.
Grab a mic.
The model that I like is like the Graham Norton show.
I was just about to say.
Where everybody comes out and everybody's talking to each other and everybody's telling stories about themselves or themselves and the other person on the couch, and you know, hosts or celebrities are asking questions of celebrities, and it's just a conversation. It's much more casual, and you don't get the same regurgitated crap that they're supposed to say on their PR tour. You get personal stories.
Yeah, Graham Norton show.
You get good content.
To be fair, though, Graham Norton's research group is amazing.
We don't have a research group.
The stuff that they dig up is incredible.
Furkeep, are we late? Is this a start? Yeah, so we're still waiting on Sarah. Sarah forgot about the daylight saving time change because I didn't communicate it to her in enough time. So we're still waiting on her.
Yeah. Yeah, research is like a huge part.
Paul, you know, and
making
everybody
that work.
loves being on the Graham Norton show. Yeah, I think that's a really good.
There's also drinking on the Graham Norton
Yeah,
show.
I was
Actually,
gonna
I am not
Just-
opposed. I am not opposed to drinking on the show, smartly. Right?
We'll put a banana costume over there, just in case.
No,
Perna Argawal.
I love you.
Preena Argawal. I like this show format well, but how about recording to this podcast as well? Done already available to you, actually. If you, wherever your favorite podcasts are, is where we are in an audio-only edition. So
Yeah.
hit up Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Like, we're on 5 or 6 different services. Just search for TMRO. You'll find us. Just look for the audio-only edition. And, we already make that available to you. And actually, on Apple Podcasts, we have a tendency to trend in top 100 in countries like Sweden, Germany, and a couple others. Like,
What's up, Europe?
Yeah.
We're like Cheap Trick. We're not very popular in America, but everywhere else, everyone loves us.
yeah. We'll trend in and trend back out
that's
every
awesome.
week. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Or
Wow.
Hasselhoff.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I could get that shirt that says I'm big in Japan, and it's like an actual true statement.
Apple Jesus. I feel like Bezos would be willing to come on. I feel like that too, and the answer is hard no. Not for lack of trying. over and over and over again. Actually, it's a soft no, but it's like a very kind hard no.
It's a continuous soft
It's a continuous soft no. Blue Origin and like their gatekeepers are impressive. And so we know lots of people that work at Blue Origin, and that's usually how I get to people is I just go around the gatekeepers. Because if you do that and you get to the person at the top, they're usually like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. And the gatekeeper's like, dang it, now we got to do it. Blue Origin gatekeepers are the best in the industry because I will go around them and then they will figure it out and pull it back down and be like, thanks, but no. It's like, oh! They're quite well done. Yeah.
Hi, Audrey Dodd.
Carrie Ann, can you move your microphone transmitter, please?
This?
Yeah, move it to your other side.
Yes.
Why?
Because those don't have those are the ones that are on the old 2.4. And so
Okay.
you need to be closer to the receiver and you don't want the signal to try to cross through your body.
Okay. Cool.
Just through Jared's, it's fine.
All
Yeah.
right.
Cool.
Well, actually, I don't think it'll cross through Jared's based on the.
How do you
where
think I get my hair up in the morning? I just just send a huge amount of radio out and wet my hair at the same time.
These are not those shoes.
Yeah, Apogee.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are Air Force Ones, which are the same as the other shoes, but these are like medium. They're not the boot like the other shoes that everyone was going nuts over. Yeah, I mean, same brand, same design, but different height, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, they're bright though. That's what I want. So.
See, Juba, we actually had Elon Musk on our show when we were Space Vidcast.
Oh, you're fine. It's just water.
Before there were any successful flights at all. Oh wait, no, is that true?
I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
had him. I think we had him on in between flights 3 and 4. I don't actually remember. It might have been in between 4 and 5, but definitely before Falcon 9. Yeah,
That was Space Vidcast PD.
PD.
Pre-data.
Pre-data.
Yep, that was. We were in Minnesota.
That was PC, actually.
yeah
Pre-calf.
Pre-calf. Yeah, so that puts it
It was
around
literally in my mother's basement.
07, 08, I think. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are going out of your mom's basement.
Sometimes I find your nerdgasms over the top, but definitely entertaining, says Jeremy Nowak. Yeah. Oh, I mean, come on. We're allowed to. Look, you're going to have a nerdgasm over something, and we're going to be like, okay, cool, bro. We like space. We're going to nerdgasm. Well, especially
Ooh.
Jared.
Zapfan's got a really good guest suggestion.
Okay,
Dr.
Zapfan.
Mark Raymond. I've seen him. I've actually worked with him before.
Do you have
doing
contact
talks
info?
and stuff. I'll ping him.
Yeah, I think under the new pings, be like, hey, we'd like to nerd out about space for you and just ask you a few questions, something, take
Yeah,
about an hour.
well, come talk.
Yeah,
come talk shop.
Come talk shop. Yeah.
Good way to do that. So
Yeah, we need to come up with all new FAQs for the show for like what guests need to expect. Like I need to really sit down and think this through. So yeah.
I mean, Dr. Mark Raymond's such a huge nerd that he's got like NASA stickers, like huge NASA stickers all over his car. His car literally looks like a space capsule. So
I kind of want my car to look like a space capsule.
it already
The car
does.
does look
Yeah,
like it.
that is why I got that car.
Stupid.
Ooh, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's expensive.
Oh yes,
He
he is.
is.
I think it was $20,000 per showing, something like that.
Yeah.
I want Chris Lewicki.
Chris Lewicki. Okay. Oh, we've tried to get him on a couple times, and that has been always problematic, unfortunately. Loopy Dragon, I don't watch a show for current news. I watch it for you guys' discussion about it, so I like this new format. I tend to agree. I think if you just want current news, you can get that anywhere. It's the discussion and the community aspect of it that I think sets us apart, and I'm leaning into that part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the important part, and I think that's what makes this entertaining and engaging.
And the discussion is what really makes it rich. I mean,
Yeah.
because we all bring something completely different to the table, and
Yeah.
that adds on a facet and a perspective that may not be there if it's just me talking directly to the camera during a space pod.
Yeah,
you know?
and I like that there's sometimes a little bit of disagreement, or especially with the astronomy stuff, where we're all like, "Wait, hold up, I don't get it." Explain that to me again, like I'm dumber.
Run that
I'm
back
dumber.
real quick, could you?
Yeah, roll that one back. Paul, yeah. If anyone has Professor, isn't he doctor? Is he professor or doctor? I thought he was doctor. Brian Cox. Anyhow,
Yeah.
if anyone has his contact info, yeah, send it over.
I kind of like that.
Peter Quinn.
I
Peter
like
Quinn's
that
comment. Is that what we're?
No, I was going to say there's a suggestion to get any Congress people or senators, because I know the House of Representatives representative for the district JPL is in is obviously like huge,
Sure.
like, hugely for JPL, but also like there's politics. So.
Yeah, so for all these suggestions, two things. One, feel free to email me directly, benjamin@tmro.tv, because these are all great ideas that I don't normally think, I'm more than open to whatever the community wants to see. Let's try. It can't hurt to ask, right? The worst that they'll do is say no. Or I think actually what would be better so that everyone can play along, make a post on community. Let's make guests we would like to see over on community. And let's just start adding on to it.
I mean, there's already a post on community.tomorrow.tv for guests for Tomorrow's Science.
Yeah, let's just make one for space.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Somebody go do that.
Yeah, and then
We're doing the show. We're busy.
I think we should do something like a calendar, something, so that you can see what's coming up. I don't know, there are a few things I'd like to take care of. Yeah, and another thing to mention about the new format is we are still tweaking with it and playing with it, right? So I think if you look at its foundation, I think foundationally it's solid, but there are a few elements that obviously need to be tweaked, right? The show's running about 2 hours now. That's simply too long. And yeah, we're all geeking out and having fun. And 2 hours, I think, for the live part of it is generally okay. Like, let's just have fun. But the on-demand should not be that long. We need to cut it. Don't have to cut it all the way in half, but an hour 15, an hour 30, that's about as long as I ever want to go. So bring that down a bit. But you can come in anytime, yep.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
We're just waiting on Sarah.
With the legs.
I am so sorry I'm late for being in the mythical land of Arizona where we do not observe daylight savings time. I got all confused. I'm so sorry.
Saving.
Right,
it's not
whatever that thing is called. Daylight saving time.
Yeah, as Twickett says, still hasn't started. Darn Americans learn your clocks.
No, this is America. We're the only time that anyone uses.
I need to get a UTC watch is what I need.
You can do that with Apple Watch. I have mine set to what's the capital of Iceland? I can never pronounce it correctly. What? Reykjavik. So that's in UTC. So
Sir Gamelot, I see daylight saving time affects the speed of electrons.
nice.
Mike with legs, not LEDs. That's good.
Are those landing legs?
They are. And they're mobile legs, too.
They've deployed.
Yeah. Not only are they landing legs, but they're crawler legs as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
I'm for it. Why don't you measure American time in imperial seconds?
Oh, there are measurements of time that are completely different, so don't get us started on that. So, man.
Wait, what measurement of time? Like atomic time is kind of different.
There's that. There's coordinated universal time. There's spacecraft event time. There's just
spacecraft event time is it counts for time dilation, but it's not like there is an imperial second.
I swear that there's actual different units for certain things. So,
but spacecraft event time, correct me if I'm wrong, spacecraft event time is accounting for time dilation and distance to spacecraft for, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right? But that's all it's doing is
yes.
That's essentially it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like that wacky.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still going to mess with your brain, but...
Yeah, there we go. Yarny's from Twitch. There are metric seconds and minutes. So, and I can't remember what the conversion actually is for those. So, but there is like an entirely different time system with that. I just can't remember what it is immediately off the top of my head.
Sean says we can't use imperial seconds due to Star Wars licensing. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Hey, so these last couple weeks I've taken the cold open myself. I don't want to do that this week. I'd like to, Jared, I'm going to throw it to you.
Sure.
What's your favorite, your top story that we're definitely going to get to? I think that's Europa's plume.
Yeah, I'm going to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Europa's plumes. What are you going to say?
So Europa's not
Tootin'.
the right temperature. Europa's got a cold.
Something's wrong with Europa.
I got a fever. The only prescription is more Europa. Gosh, thanks for putting me on the spot, Ben.
You're welcome. Well, I'm not actually putting you on the spot.
Oh my God,
I'm doing
this
it
is
pre-show before we hit
flung
the
down.
actual show open. Mike, what are you going to do?
I guess talking about SpaceX, they've had quite a few updates this week. A new ship, testing out spacesuits, and Elon teasing a mini BFS.
I like that. Elon. Let's see
Elon,
here.
you teased.
Let's see here.
Have fun today, Lisa.
Bye, Lisa. Is she leaving?
Yes, if you were reading the chat room, you would have seen that.
Oh, I'm kind of reading the chat room. I'm trying to do a show, you know.
Yeah, have fun, Lisa. We'll be watching.
Bye.
I'll be watching later for sure. So
Me too.
She's
Can't
not
wait to
back
see
in the
that.
motherland. She's in New Zealand.
yeah, that's not right.
Let's see here.
Every astronaut, it's Lisa, L-I-S-R. She just puts an R instead of an A. Why are you trying to make it more complicated than it is? You're killing me.
Yeah, it's just L. Yeah,
Audrey, explain this to him, please. Like Nasser.
It's so nice to look over and actually see you guys.
Yeah,
Not a
we
wall.
are.
Not a wall.
Yeah.
How about Elon teases updates to Falcon?
Okay.
To
Yeah.
the rocket, something like that.
Europa's
She's not leasing
the right
anything. I can tell you
temperature.
that right now. Painfully.
Europa's too cold.
Something weird going on with Europa. Would that be fair?
All these worlds are yours. Attempt no landing here, right?
Except for Europa.
Yeah, except for Europa.
What is that from? I'm not.
2010. So
Which
Oh,
so
that's
you guys
not a-
might
no,
hate me
I
for
don't
this,
count
but that
that.
one's actually my more.
No,
I like
don't you
2010
dare.
more than I do 2001, only because of the spaceships.
No.
I liked.
Plot, storyline, everything else. 2001 is the better movie, but 2010.
I like the idea of having to be very careful with a computer that's having an existential crisis and dealing with the psychology of a computer like that.
That was 2001.
No,
Yeah.
but in 2010 they had to do that. They did that even more in depth in 2010.
2010 was a crappy movie about why.
Yeah, it was a crappy movie about why.
All right,
Like they didn't.
okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain what I
You know,
just
Coop-
saw at the ending of 2001?
Yeah, Kubrick was basically like, "Oh hell no!"
That's not even covered.
yeah,
They just talked about why Hal had an existential crisis.
yeah. So, and Kubrick did not do 2010.
No.
He was like, "Oh hell no," and he was absolutely opposed to it. So yeah. Anyhow,
Might make it more understandable for me. I don't.
Maybe plumes on Europa, not so fast.
Kubrick was like Mary Poppins. He doesn't explain himself to anybody.
so what's the fundamental gist here of your story?
Basically, Europa's surface is much colder than they were expecting it to be. If there are plumes coming out of it, they couldn't find hot spots on Europa. On Enceladus, there are hot spots where the plumes are at. On Europa, there are no hot spots.
So plume shouldn't be possible because it'd be all frozy.
Potentially.
How about you say plume shouldn't be possible because it should be all frozy?
Sure.
Don't do that.
Plumes on Europa? Maybe not, because it should be frozen. Oh yeah, it's gonna be real cold out there.
Just
Oh, don't
pretend
you know
you're
you
Lisa.
betcha.
and
Oh,
just,
it's
like,
gonna be a real
drop the
frozy.
N off the bottom of the.
It's gonna be so frozy. I gotta tell you.
I like Dan TC24's.
I'll let you fill in the blank on that one. So.
Tim Dodd, I did, and because of my coasters at home, I probably won't be purchasing those because I know how well they already work.
They're not coasters. They don't work. If they have holes.
Oh, you know what? No, that's not true. If they are also coated in cork, then I would be in.
Yes.
So if you could make that happen, that'd be great.
Water bottles on ours at home.
That's why they're called not a
Europa
coaster.
continues to
Yeah,
surprise us?
Got it.
Yeah, more surprises at Europa. Maybe.
More surprises at Europa. And then what is the line from 2010?
Oh, I don't know.
You're hot
It's
and
after.
you're cold. You're yes
well, in
and
the book,
you're
wasn't
no.
it Jupiter?
Oh, no.
Or no,
That's
it
not
was
good.
Saturn
Okay.
in the books, and in the movie they had Jupiter.
Yeah, because they couldn't figure
ignited.
out how to do
you want
Saturn
to
with
build
the
a
effects of the time.
snowplow?
So
You did that in a way higher octave than I expected you to.
He has a nice falsetto, actually. He does. No, he
Tomorrow's
does.
a musical.
He has a
coming
nice
soon,
falsetto.
starring Princess Brand Carnival.
Come on, let's go and play.
I'm a soprano and you went higher than I did.
But why space? Why space? Gotta tell me why space?
No, I want you to do the next one because it's even higher.
What's the next one? Where's the next one?
No,
be
just
the why, or no
any
one
of the
will
lines.
care.
Just the tune of it.
I don't think I can.
You heard it right in your head.
No. Oh God, I can't go that high.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I was like,
doing
wow, you started here to.
Yeah.
Smokey Durg is pretty funny. You got an idea as to what you're gonna do?
No, nobody ever knows.
What's up? What happened? Were you talking to me?
Oh, actually, Dwight. Thank you. So, Jared, you could say all these worlds are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there. Use them together. Use them in peace. You could just say that.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
No one will know what's happening, but you can definitely say that.
Sure, that sounds fun to me.
Say scientists are surprised by Europa. All these worlds are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there. Use them together. Use them in peace.
I feel like that might be better to use that whole thing like on the show after we find potential life on Europa. Like that might be a little more.
I feel like we should use it
appropriate
every time we mention Europa.
Thank you.
we can do that too.
Appagesis. All our bases are belong to us. Yeah, what did make that go somehow?
Make that come.
What?
Europa Clipper's on the potential cutting block though now, isn't it? 'Cause
Probably not.
The supporters who really pushed hard for Europa Clipper
They're gone.
lost their bid for re-election. So.
yeah, and there's no one pushing it anymore. So that's
Well, here's the thing, because I mean, the people that took their place in Congress and Senate, they're not going to be on the science committees. So my question is, who that are that were already existing Congress people or senators are going to be chosen for the different science committees that choose NASA's budget?
Yeah.
And are they going to be as supportive, or are they going to have their own agendas?
The lander is likely going to get cut, but the lander was never a sure bet to begin with. It was just essentially funded to study what it would take to get a lander there.
so Clipper's fine. It's the little
Yes.
All right, copy.
Yeah.
I do like Dan TC24. We spent the last 7 minutes trying to figure out how to say Europa is cold.
Yeah, we could just say that. Europa's cold.
Europa's cold, but it's behaving like it's hot.
Peter Quinn, ESA could still do the lander, and if they did the lander, we'd get those cute little animations that they always build.
That's right.
And they'd be like, I'm a happy little lander!
Yay, I'm coming down. Here we go. Yay, I'm going to sleep as a metaphor for death. I'm just going to lay down and never regret.
Terrible.
That's what it is, though. That's why they're so
I know,
sad.
but they make it so cute. And,
I
like,
know, but it's
like,
just
oh,
so terrible.
Look how
Those cute
adorable that
cartoons
is.
for Philae.
Jesus, man. Just like watching that was
man.
just like, oh, right in the gut, you know. Is there a secret base on Europa? Well,
Obviously.
I'm not high enough in the Illuminati to know that. So
There's no secret base on Europa.
none at all.
We don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's something that I wonder about with all this Space Force stuff. What do you think the existing Space Force thinks about all this?
Well, actually, I think what it is. Let's find my center. I think what it is they wanted to bring the existing Space Force to light, so the new Space
so that they
Force
could be
is nothing
declassified?
more than taking the existing Space Force and then being like, oh, we're going to make a base on the moon. Look, we were able to build it in record time.
That
I know it looks like it's
explains-
from the 70s.
That explains the $20,000 coffee machines.
Exactly, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, you said the $20,000 coffee machines?
Yes.
Was it coffee? No, it was a coffee mug. Was it a machine or a mug?
Oh, I just know it was
I was
something
like,
coffee
my
related.
I thought it
coffee
was a mug.
machine
It
is
was mugs?
$20,000.
Holy
It was mugs,
smokes.
yeah.
Okay, I was like,
some
that's
good
not
mugs.
weird. Screw you, man.
What are they, like carbon ceramic? Like they're going to keep the coffee hot indefinitely?
Clearly not, because they were breaking.
Hello,
Yeah,
Launchpad
they were
Astronomy.
breaking a lot.
Didn't they film the faked moon landings
Oh
on
my
the
God.
secret base of Europa?
That is, in fact, true.
I thought it was Mars.
No, it was actually on Europa. Yeah, because it was colder there. Yeah.
That's where they filmed Empire Strikes Back.
No. I
Yeah.
thought that was Tethys, the moon of Saturn. You know, the Death Star.
No, that's Planet X.
That'd be Mimas, actually.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
no, you're
Mimas,
good. With
that's right.
Herschel,
Yeah.
the big crater Herschel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although Tethys does definitely look a bit like Hoth.
Yeah.
So Enceladus too looks a lot like Hoth.
So we've got some cross-channel love going on. Isaac loves Launchpad Astronomy's channel. So we all, as a community, need to go to YouTube and check out Launchpad Astronomy's channel and leave positive comments.
Positive comments.
Yeah, the
Not that our community
the negative
has a hard
comments are
time with
reserved
that.
for here.
Yeah.
We get the negative comments; they get all the positive comments. That's how that works.
Oh man. Isaac Arthur, Launchpad Astronomy, Everyday Astronaut. We got a crew going on here. This is
Okay.
great.
Here you go. So
We're
you're talking
all in.
about $20,000 espresso machines?
If only we had like
Yeah.
a Zoom channel or
Like-
something.
Oh,
that
I'm
could bring
aware.
these people in.
Seriously.
So yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if you need to put that on like a reconnaissance airplane. You know, like I think a Mr. Coffee or a Keurig could do pretty good.
If you want good coffee, you put one of these on there.
Yeah, but you don't need good coffee. You just need something that works.
What are you talking about right now?
Jared,
Like, what is happening? Are you okay?
What?
you get a timeout.
What are you?
No, I'm not saying. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about these airplanes that they fly for like 10 to 20 hours at a time. You know, to do reconnaissance and stuff.
Is he like? I don't understand what's happening.
Are we not on the same page
Is my
We
here?
are
translator
not on the same
broken?
page. Yeah.
I'm not hearing it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how they'll do like so there's airplanes that do reconnaissance, they go out for very long periods of time, so they have food and drinks and coffee on board. I'm just saying you probably don't need a $20,000 espresso machine on the airplane.
Recently, there was an article that published
You are hurting everything in my being right now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Carrie Ann.
that the military was spending $20,000 a month on mugs.
That makes more sense. $20,000
$20 a month
mug.
on mugs.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, but they were spending a buttload of money on coffee mugs.
How much is a buttload?
Apparently
$20,000 a month.
How much
$20,000.
money
Half of James Webb.
Well, I want to know how much money one can fit in their butt. I think that's what I'm really asking here.
Ben, I'm not sure if this is something you want to pursue.
I feel like I'm about to get a whole bunch of images not safe for work in
Yeah,
the
I was
chat
gonna
room.
say we're gonna nip that in the butt before it goes any further. So.
Nip that in the butt, would you say, Jared?
Yes.
Oh man.
Ben After Dark. How many James Webbs?
Yeah, due to daylight saving time,
There you go. There you go. You got it.
you're getting your after dark first.
The hologram is not used to daylight saving time, right? This is not a thing that he has to deal with. And that's something that a lot of people in America forget. Not even everyone in America supports daylight saving time to this day. Yes, Carrie Ann?
Yeah, but aren't we in standard time now?
Yes.
Yes, but because we exited
Aren't we
daylight.
always in UTC?
The show is.
Okay.
But now you guys, like, for while you guys are in daylight saving, we're like on the same time zone in Arizona.
Not
Right.
doing your-
But
Sorry.
now that you
here,
guys are back
I don't
to
have
what should be normal time,
pack here.
you guys are an hour ahead of me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See, in my mind, it was standard time, so like we should be in the same time. So that's
Gotcha.
why I was confused.
It's like
I can't hear.
one
Oh,
time on
wow. Never mind. He's right there.
Welcome back.
Okay.
the other time.
So,
I hadn't even looked.
Yeah, no, that's why I was confused.
so Beth says, didn't California vote to make daylight saving time permanent?
Yeah.
Yes, kind of. So
Sorta.
what actually got voted on? Yeah, have a seat. Have a
Come on
seat.
in.
What actually got voted on was our ability to
meet you in
Approach the federal government.
ask the federal
Yeah.
government to make it permanent. All right, so we'll start shortly here. Do you need a moment, or do you need an iPad or anything?
Oh, right.
Yeah, go grab whatever you need.
All that
Yeah,
stuff.
we're not in a hurry.
Otherwise, we can.
No, really, we're not in a hurry. Like, well, it is what it is.
I got here maybe 15 minutes ago, so you're fine.
Oh,
Apologize.
I didn't know
everyone.
that. Florida may stick with daylight. Oh, that's not it. There we go. Florida may stick with daylight saving time too. That would be. It makes sense. So I think daylight saving time actually does make more sense than standard time, except for Griffith.
Yes. We'll have
just
a
need to have
Griffith
LA
Park will
change
not run
their
on
Griffith
local time.
and-
Yeah, they just need to have the times changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really simple. They just have to say, yeah, okay, sure, go ahead. I mean,
So we're 17 minutes away from the top of the hour. We can just sit here and dork around for the next 17 minutes if you guys want, and then start the show exactly an hour late if you want.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be kind of enjoying the pre-show conversation. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Right? I
We're
mean-
enjoying ourselves.
We're not in any. Is anyone here in any hurry?
No.
No. No.
What's
All
a
right.
hurry?
like, I told my babysitter the regular time because I forgot about the time.
All right, cool. So we're just gonna dork around for 16 more minutes, and then what's gonna happen is I'm promptly going to we're gonna get deep into a conversation, and then at the top of the hour, Doug's gonna be like, "We start!" Boom! And cut me off mid-sentence. You'll see the disclaimer slate. It's gonna be amazing.
Jim Burr says that he's in a hurry.
Ben Field, this isn't actually the show. No, I mean it can feel like it sometimes. It can feel like it sometimes.
You said space nerds nerding out.
Oh, that's it. So, since we're basically out here the whole time, two things that I want to get changed. I want to have camera operators that we can get nice onesie shot instead of, because right now he's got a nice 3-shot of this group. There we go. And he's got a nice 2-shot of this group. There we go. But we don't have nice onesie shots. And I like to have those. So that's
I
one
really
thing I'd like
want
to
to
change.
show off my physical features.
Round.
Yeah, because if we're shooting in 4K.
Well,
You
the
know.
4K is really just for the hawk.
Are you sure about that?
The details of the hawk are important.
Are you sure about that, though?
I'm sure about that.
Because there's other details that are coming out. Like your beard's semi-redness.
Oh
will come
yeah,
across.
it's all of the. My beard is a rainbow beard. You may not be able to tell, but it truly is. It's like red, brown, gray, blonde. Yeah, oh yeah. It's just like if there's a hair color, it's in my beard somewhere. It's amazing.
How did that happen?
I was playing near a nuclear disposal waste site as a young child, and my superpower that I got was multicolored beard.
I have all of those except blonde, so it must just be the blonde hairs that you got from your superpower.
Yeah,
Wow.
could be. Yeah.
Wow.
Yours is just like
Impressive.
Your
grayish.
calico beard.
You're grayish.
Grayish? No,
Yeah.
there's red in there.
Is there really red in there?
Not a lot.
There's a lot. There is quite a bit of red in it.
Like, the amount of red in his beard is like the amount of gray that's in mine now. It's,
Thomas, 19,
Just
99, 20. Is there
Just a little bit.
Whoa, hey.
What did I just knock off? Your water.
Well, I
I'm
guess
so
we're going to
sorry.
have to
That's
buy a
all right.
mug, a $20,000 mug.
Yeah, can I get one of those? Can I
There's
get one of
20
those?
grand.
No, thanks.
It was 1,200, by the way.
Whatever. Who else is excited for the next Electron launch? That's coming up at tomorrow.
7
Tomorrow,
PM.
0300 UTC.
I think so.
Yeah,
I know it's 7 p.m.
Pacific
Standard Time, yeah.
Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah,
So I'm going to watch it.
yeah I'm gonna watch
For
it.
sure.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's just a couple.
Put Velcro on the mugs. That'd be a
Yeah.
little hilarious.
Yep. You definitely would know when we're taking a drink.
Well, that's enough surface area. You might be able to lift the moon table.
BEF saying Electron launch is tonight. That is no. It depends on your time zone. The Electron launch is technically tomorrow at 0300 UTC. If you're in the U.S., you need to subtract however many hours from UTC you are.
What?
It's
Who's
8
that?
hours from now, though. So
That's
hopefully,
Amanda.
so
Oh, okay.
for some of us, it will
Those
be
are her
tonight.
goat for launch socks.
Nice.
A lot of times,
Very
though,
nice.
like doing the launch reports, there's a lot of launches that happen, right after midnight UTC, and it might still be like, say, a Friday for me when I'm watching the launch, or when I, get the news that it took off, but it's actually the next day in UTC time. So
It's known as UTC.
UTC.
I actually say that at work. I'll say instead of USB, I'll say USB. For UTC, I'll say UTC.
Would you say AUX cable?
I would not say AUX cable.
AUX cable?
No, she's not here anymore.
AUX cable.
I'll say instead of HDMI, I'll say HIDMI. Yep.
Phrasing question.
Phrasing.
Hit me cables one more time.
So if I have a launch that's at a time of like 0043, would the proper way to say that be 0143 or 43 minutes after midnight? Like, what would be the proper way to say that? I never did learn military speak.
Ot 43.
Oh, 43.
Ot 43?
Yeah, I think
Odd
it's
43 works really well.
Yeah.
I think military time it'd be 043, right?
yeah.
Military time would be 043.
043.
Ot 43 would be technically the English way to, like the proper English way to say it.
Ot 43.
Yeah.
Coordinated universal.
Scuzzy?
Odd 43 is
SCSI.
Z.
No, Helldesk says what, so so Scuzzy? No, just to spite them, I will say SESI.
You didn't want to address the other one, huh?
Oh, what's the other one? I didn't see it.
Which one is it?
That one.
Zulu equals UTC. Well, actually, that gets tricky.
Yeah.
Oh, the rabbit hole.
No, I mean,
Is it kind of like the same thing between the difference between GMT and UTC?
yeah, Greenwich Mean Time and UTC, they're all kind of generally interchangeable now.
You mean gumped and
Gumped and Upt. Gumped and Utsi. Well played. Gumped and Upsy. Yeah. So think of it this way. One of them is a time standard. UTC is a time standard. And for GMT, and Zulu is kind of more of a time standard than it is anything else.
God's sake.
Greenwich Mean Time is a time zone, not a time standard, but it is time zone 0 that everything else is based off of, so everybody thinks it's a time standard. When you really start peeling away the layers of that onion, it actually does get a lot more complicated because Gumped doesn't support leap seconds, it doesn't do atomic time, and UTC does.
It doesn't believe in accuracy.
It doesn't believe in accuracy because Gumped was too old, and so we've kind of like on your old Windows 95 computer, you used to have a GMT option. You don't anymore. Starting, I think, with Windows 7, GMT is gone. You can't see it anymore. Definitely in Windows 10, it's all UTC now because you're supposed to be moving over to UTC because it is a far more accurate timekeeping method. UTC is essentially based on atomic time, and by essentially based on atomic time, it is based on atomic time. Yeah, GMT doesn't really have. Yeah, exactly. GMT doesn't really have standards as such. More, but it does in that it has lines on the ground. But what's really interesting is Greenwich Mean Time. The line for 0 actually went right through the Greenwich Observatory, but UTC, that line moved several hundred kilometers. So it actually no longer goes straight through the. So even UTC, the time zone, the literal physical location of the time zone actually changes with UTC. And another thing that confuses everyone's bored now with my rant, and I'm sorry. The other thing that confuses the daylights out of people that live in Europe is
Wait, the daylight saving out of people?
Did I say?
No, just
Well, yeah,
confuses the daylight saving out of people.
Haha! Whoa, hey, be here all night. Some of them. So for anyone in Europe who changes their clock, half the time they could be on GMT, and half the time they're on BST, British Standard Time, and they
Wait, was it standard or summer?
Oh, it might be summer. I'm sorry.
I
British
think it's summertime.
And then there's BST,
And the living is
Beijing
easy.
Standard Time.
And the which one?
And the living is easy.
Nice.
Summertime.
Oh,
It's a
we're going,
different song,
we're going
but okay.
Will Smith now. All right.
Can we talk about the pips and my idea?
The pips. So here's what I got. We haven't actually told anyone but in Escape Philosophy about anything that's happening.
Okay. That's why I asked.
But you know what? We've got
That's why I asked.
8 minutes, so why not?
Wait. Kieran off of YouTube says British summer, and then Jim Burr off of YouTube says British standard.
You know what? It's British Summer Standard Time.
It's a standard summer. BSST.
All right. So while we wait for the next 8 minutes, Other than our Escape Velocity patrons, everyone watching live will be the first to know. We are working on officially official Tomorrow patches. They were actually ordered last night. And the Tomorrow patches are pretty cool. They have some symbolism in them. And actually, this is not something that I even described in Escape Velocity. So, Dada, are you able to call up that image for me and move it over while I waste time here?
It's a stall for time. It's a stall for time.
So I don't know how this is going to work on the ATEM.
By the way, what did you want to say in the intro?
We'll loop back around to that. But yeah, we're gonna. All right, so the new patch has a bunch of pips in it, kind of taken out of Star Trek, like for the pips that they'd have on their collar. But we have one pip per orbit, and there was I was debating whether we have. Because these patches will come out for Orbit 12, so I didn't know if we should have 12 pips or 11, because technically Orbit 12 is our 11th year. Because a baby doesn't start at 1 year old, the baby starts at 0, but our first orbit started at 1, so we're exactly 1 year off, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Jared's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Y2K.
Like, once you hit the second year, you've been on for a year.
Yep, exactly. Once you hit Orbit 2, you've only been on for 1 year. So, it has pips. The first 6 pips are light gray, because that was when we were Space Vidcast. The next 6 pips are white, with the exception of 1 pip 2 pips ago, which is a star. There you go. Sorry, it looks kind of not great, but we'll take it. So the system didn't know how to render it properly. So the T actually does go over the purple square. So the edges of the T go all the way out on either side into the bottom. You just can't see it because it's over white. So TMRO, you can see all the pips kind of in the middle, except for that 1 star. And that 1 star is for our old director, Calf. And that's the year that he passed away, as a little remembrance of Calf, who helped to make this show go in the early years, in the not only technical directing and helping to produce the show, but also offering space in the back of the Crow River Coffee Company. So we wanted to call that year out as important to us, and so it has it's just a slightly different shape. It's a star instead of a circle. So then Space Mike's idea was we should issue pips to everyone on the cast and crew for the number of years that you've been working here. And while that is a fun idea, it creates a
seniority complex type of thing?
Yeah, and I don't want that,
Gotcha.
if that makes sense. Although I do think it's fun, so I'd like to take the fun idea itself and turn it into something that doesn't end up having a competition behind it almost. Now, it's not a real competition, it's kind of a faux competition, but like...
maybe like personalized Tomorrow patches. Something that's like a signature.
I think you were talking
of ours.
actual pips, though. Like, so the patches have been ordered. We've ordered patches.
Yeah.
They're coming in.
Are we going to have them with Velcro on the back?
They not with Velcro.
Okay.
They'll have the iron-on.
Okay,
thing,
I'll just put Velcro on the back.
Yeah, you can do the iron-on to the
So-
Velcro thing, and then you can add your own Velcro thing.
Yeah.
Thingy. Yeah. and then-
Tomorrow just stands for tomorrow.
Like how the kids say it.
By the way, we're 4 minutes out. So speaking of, let's figure out what you're going to do for your cold. Do you know what you're doing for your cold open?
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say...
You're going to do the 2010 thing?
The
or-
Europa thing. So-
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I need to pull up the
SpaceX
line,
has announced upgrades to their Falcon 9.
That's right, yep.
And Mars is poisoned with perchlorates, and now we know why.
Poison!
All right, that's actually moderately interesting. I'll take it.
Woohoo! Moderately.
First try.
Hey man, the cold open is important, right?
It really is.
It's the first few seconds where you're introduced to the show, and if you're a first-time viewer, you have to be like, why the hell am I going to listen to these people? So, you know?
We're dorks like you.
Yeah, they see my face, and they're like, they're like, nope. So then we got to hook them in with something else. They're like, what? How many colors can one beard have?
I have the same thing in my hair.
Alex Physics, I wouldn't call it an upgrade. Well, I mean, it's an upgrade. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would call it. Sure, yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, we're using my cold open.
You got a third dimension. I wouldn't call it a comeback.
Yeah, this is definitely an upgrade.
Third dimension.
It is weird because your hand can still pass right through them, which I think is weird.
Okay.
I get a little bit of a glitch though, so don't actually do it.
Well, this is really weird, man. I'm freaking out. And I'm trying to get the chat back.
And then I'll turn to you, and you could say something like, and I'll have comments from, I'll have community. I'll be talking about I don't know. I'd like you to say something in the cold open, otherwise it's weird.
It's not weird unless you make it weird.
I'm gonna make it weird.
How about don't make it weird?
Let's get weird today.
Ooh, feel like I've already made it weird.
Ben that we're talking about. So if he has an opportunity to do it.
Great.
Oh my God, Smokey Durg, I want to see someone add in post. Can't click.
Where are...
There we go. I want to see someone add in post the same kind of glitch that the Doctor goes through periodically in Voyager. That would be a little
Hold on
hilarious.
just a minute. I am not ready.
Hold. You've had like 15 minutes.
Yeah, but I just noticed that the launch minutes notes weren't in there. I had those done yesterday. So I'm just going to pull something up real quick. We'll be all right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back in chat. I accidentally booted myself.
What the heck?
So
Did I put all that in and just not save it?
Put it in the wrong rundown.
Your socks are very colorful.
My socks are. Oh, I can't talk about my socks. I just
Okay.
realized.
I mean,
My socks are colorful.
you can.
I guess.
Is that a cello?
Oh, I do. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's not a cello. It's an upright bass.
Oh.
Hang on, there's.
I saw feet on either side of it. No, it looks like someone's
Your
sitting.
shirt is also colorful.
But okay.
All right. So,
It's a jazz quartet.
Yeah.
I know why you can't talk about it.
yeah, I know. It's like
Gotcha.
I can, but I shouldn't. Yeah, that's gonna
Yeah, no, you're
create a
good.
world of hurt.
You're good.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
All right, ready whenever you guys
All
are.
right. Well, I guess I'm just not going to be in chat for the show. So, it's not the chat's fault. It's my
we
iPad's
have
fault.
one more minute. So,
Play.
do you want to?
Play.
That's the name of
Well,
the
I've been trying to
company
get
that
it
does
to
them.
go, so and it's not cooperating.
Give me your thing.
Like what I need. I'm so tired of tying my shoes. Mainly 'cause I don't
That's my
know
thing.
how to tie them, but
PLAE shoes.
I could just go grab my laptop and say,
PLAE,
F this.
Where's the fun in that?
But yeah, they're really cute.
And welcome to tomorrow. Let's go around the room really quick and see what we're going to be talking about today. Jared, what have you got for us?
Well, all these worlds are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there.
Intriguing. Sarah.
Oh, Mars is poisoned with perchlorates, and now we know why.
Ooh, that's a mouthful. And Space Mike?
The Falcon 9 rocket from SpaceX is going to be getting some upgrades soon, and we're going to talk about it.
Block 6, maybe?
Sort of, maybe. We'll figure it out.
Stay tuned. Tomorrow, Orbit 11.44 starts right now.
Good morning. How's everything up in the sky?
We're going to do this one more time. You have my name banner up.
Right, because I was paying attention to trying to talk to you.
Did we record?
Haha, good question. Are we recording?
I
Yes.
think I hit record.
There is a red light in
Yeah, I hit
here.
record earlier. Actually, we've been recording for a while. I'm gonna stop and restart that.
Okay.
We've been recording for an hour, and I don't want to have to figure out that edit point.
Thanks for nothing, iPad. It's a super old one anyhow. it's
So
all
what did
good.
you say then?
I think we had my name banner. Did we have my name banner up in the cold open? Okay, that was all.
The preset changes it.
That's right. Okay, cool.
You didn't want Carrie Ann to say anything about comments?
She said she didn't want to.
I mean, I can. I just.
All right.
That's fine. It's fine. All right, ready? Oh, wait. Jared, do you need a minute?
You did that.
I know that was me. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. And and welcome to Tomorrow. Let's go around the room really quick and see what we're going to be talking about today. Jared?
Sure, all these worlds are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there.
That's intriguing.
What could
Sarah?
it be?
Oh, Mars is poisoned with perchlorates, and now we know why.
I don't think I can say that sentence. Space Mike?
SpaceX is planning some upgrades to their Falcon 9, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Block 6? Block 5.5?
Maybe.
Something
We'll
like
not
that?
quite. We'll figure it out.
Sounds like an awesome show. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, Orbit 11.44 starts right now.
Good morning. How's everything up in the sky?
I think we should get actually we should do quick introductions because we don't really do that enough. So I'm Benjamin Higginbotham, and creator of Tomorrow. I'm going to head it over to Space Mike. You are a rocket specialist. You're going to be doing our launch minute, which is always fun. You've got a couple of launches this week, so I'll hand the baton off to you and take it away.
Well, before I do that, did you want to introduce everybody?
No,
Or
we'll
you
do
want
it.
me to go
We'll
ahead
do
and-
it.
Okay.
We'll do it individually.
We're going to do it one at a time, Mike.
This week was awesome because we had 2 launches of my favorite rocket, the Soyuz rocket. So let's jump right into it. The first launch that we had was a Soyuz 2.1B with the Fregat M upper stage, and this launched on Saturday, November 3rd at 2017 Coordinated Universal Time from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome. And on board was a GLONASS M, specifically 757, also known as Cosmos 2529. This is one of Russia's radio navigation satellites, similar to the United States' GPS satellites or China's Beidou navigation satellites. And with this, it's going to be part of their second generation, and there's only a few more left. They should only have 3 more of their second generation GLONASS satellites before they move on to a more advanced system. But in any case, everything seems to have gone well from the launch. We only got to see a little bit of the liftoff because of the nature of the military launch site there. But we apparently everything was successful, and the GLONASS M was placed into its proper orbit. So this particular Soyuz launch was conducted successfully. And for the other Soyuz launch that we had this week, this was a Soyuz ST-B rocket with also a Fregat M upper stage. And this launched on November 7th at 0:47 Coordinated Universal Time from the Kourou Launch Center in French Guiana. And with this particular launch, the Soyuz ST-B is basically the same as the Soyuz 2-1B, but it has different avionics systems that are specifically for the French Guiana Space Center, there at the Kourou Space Center. And on board was the MET-OPT-C satellite. This is the third of 3 satellites that are a weather satellite, an advanced weather satellite for the European Space Agency. And with this, they are able to reduce the amount of inaccurate weather data by about 25%. So this particular mission is not only was able to reach its successful orbit, but once the satellite is online with the other 2 satellites that are already in orbit, it'll help weather data even more worldwide. So congratulations to Russia for 2 successful Soyuz launches. That was so awesome.
Well done, Hologram. And for those who couldn't see, because you can't see his computer screen, he actually had to do that kind of like on the fly and from memory. So that's really super ultra impressive because his notes didn't make it into the rundown.
Yeah,
so
I
he's
don't
just
know
sitting
what
there looking
happened
at
there.
he's looking at Wiki like, here's the time and date, and I'll just do the rest from memory. So that's really quite impressive, Mike. Really
Thank you.
well done. Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Oh, man.
So I don't know if you got to see it, but I updated the orbital launches graphic, and I've added Earth in the bottom now.
Earth in the bottom.
So
There
we have-
we go.
we have the total-
That's good for our total.
It has a total tally for the entire planet, and I am super duper excited to be able to add something like Moon or Mars.
Oh, man.
Isn't that going to be awesome? That's going to be a real thing,
That's gonna be a real
not just
thing
within our
someday.
lifetime, but I think within like the next 10 years. Like there was a
Oh my
launch
gosh.
from Mars
I'll
that
take a
occurred
dollar
today.
bet Earth is going to win.
Not taking that bet. Not taking that bet. All right, here's a quick update on the orbital launches.
Oh man, so China had 32 launches, 31 of which were successful. The
winning.
United States has had 27 successful launches. Russia has had 14 launch attempts with 13 of them successful. Japan and Europe are both tied at 6 launches, and then India is still at 4, although hopefully they'll be having another launch later on this month. Oh man, so we've had 86 successful launches this year, 89 launch attempts, and I'm just, things are getting so crazy. I mean, I know we've had years that have had more launches than that, but just...
We have?
I think so. Well, before our time, long before our time. Like in the 70s, there's been more than 100 launches in one year.
I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Yeah,
long before we were reporting about this stuff. So.
I'm sure there were lots of asterisks next to those launches. Right? So for those who don't know, on that orbital update, there's an asterisk for every partial failure or launch failure.
Yeah.
So you can see a few on there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it was just exciting to me to see both of these Soyuz launches. And whatever, they inspected all the different Soyuz rockets after the Soyuz FG failed with crew on board. And so they've been able to clear these particular launches. I mean, we already had one, what was that, last week or the week before when we had another Soyuz 2 launch?
I think it was last week. We've had
3.
Yeah, there have been just a ton of launches since the anomaly. Yeah,
3 Soyuz launches since the anomaly, and the next FG launch is hopefully going to be this month with the Progress spacecraft. And then if everything goes well, they'll be cleared for launch on December 3rd with the next crew to go up to the International Space Station. But yeah, I was really excited to see also the MEDOP-C satellite as well. But there's a comment that we threw in here that I figured we'd address.
Yeah, this is all getting tricky. This is from Jazz Thoreau, who says, I'd like to enable ESA flights as Europe rather than European Union, since ESA also has non-European Union members such as Switzerland and Norway. Switzerland specifically manufactures the Ariane 5 payload variants, besides providing funding. So yeah, we did make that change. You'll notice it keeps updating. Like we're struggling with what goes where. Like the Rocket Lab thing is a thing. Like where does that go? And there's a ton of debate. Oh yeah, like there's just tons of debate. And the thing is, everyone's right is the hard part.
Yeah,
right? No one's wrong in their debate. Like. Anyhow, Rocket Lab's one thing, and then like for that last launch, the Soyuz launch, that was a Russian shuttle that launched from a French territory in South America with a European payload. So what flag do I put on that? Like Earth, yeah, right,
Earth,
yeah. Just that blue flag with
confusing.
Actually, maybe that's a good point. Maybe we're at a point where we need to stop looking at these as what countries had what launches.
Well, dude, that's why I'm reporting on all of these rocket launches in the first place. I'm not looking at this from a national standpoint. I'm looking at, here's all of the worldwide rocket launches, and I'm getting excited that for everyone. But just classifying it for, who launched what for that, just for statistics purposes. So, I mean, I want to give the Electron launches to New Zealand as well. But, I mean, specifically for this, I mean... Roundtable.Space is a customer. They're buying the Soyuz rocket. Sure. A team of Russian engineers are coming out to oversee the launch every time that they launch from there. And if anything happens during the launch, Russia is responsible for the insurance policy. So
sure. I want to give
Russia.
So back to Electron. I want to give that to the U.S. simply because I want to win our bet. For those who don't know, we have a $1 bet. As to who will launch more this year, China or the United States, and he's winning by I think 5 right now. But Electron's about to launch, Falcon's about to launch.
2 this month, maybe.
Yeah. So and then I think there's still a chance based on the calendar that I could win, but it's looking unlikely. I think China is going to be the worldwide leader again. It's looking very, very unlikely.
Okay, well, for the first time. Because normally, for years,
last year,
at least as long as I've been paying attention to it closely, last year I thought that it was the United States that had the most.
I thought it was China.
Because for the longest time, it's been either the United States or Russia. More so Russia.
I'm like 80% sure it was China last year. I could be wrong. If only there was an internet
since I'm in here, let me look at last year real quick.
All right.
Now I just have to satisfy that curiosity.
All right, you look that up, and you know what we'll do? We've got 2 launch calendar breaks this week because we've got just so you know.
Yeah, United States last year had 30 launches. Russia had 20. China 18. That's the way it's been for a while. It's usually like Russia, United States first or second, and then China in a close third, and then everyone else.
All right, cool. Well done. All right, so and you've got a boatload of launches coming up next week, just so you know. So be prepared for potentially our first 5-minute launch minute.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Launch minutes.
Hopefully all of those rockets go off.
Well, I mean, Successfully.
Yes. Hopefully all of those
Lighting the
rockets launch
engine
and
is-
place their orbits, place their payloads into orbit.
Yeah, we want a successful orbit. All right, let's toss this
Anyway.
over to Jared. Jared, what? That
Why can't we land on Europa?
That was
in
very
the
cryptic.
cold,
What's
in the
going
cold
on?
open. That was from 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
The far
Both-
inferior to 2001.
Well, it was also in the book as well for those of us who read things. So, you know.
wow, all angry
just,
over
just
there.
Just gonna say this
You mean
because
like paper books? Not on the
yeah, you know,
internet?
you look at paper and you hallucinate things.
I'm a sent
So-
iPad because I don't read.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to Europa because Europa is obviously one of those places that we really want to study because it's intriguing to us because we think that there's a subsurface ocean there, and there's got to be something that is melting the ice to make a subsurface ocean. So, like some kind of hydrothermal or Europathermal activity happening there.
Europathermal, I love it.
And what's cool is that here on Earth, everywhere where there's a source of energy and water, you find life. So that means that there's a very high possibility that there could be life on Europa. And one of the ways that we want to figure out where to land something in order to have a better chance of figuring this out is that we want to study the surface temperatures of Europa. So just to give you an idea of the surface temperatures of Europa, right around the equator of Europa, it's about minus 160 Celsius. And then in the poles, it's about minus 220 Celsius. So it's a little cold. Now, they've been using the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array, and that is a radio interferometer. So basically taking these radio telescopes, combining them together so that it's like one big, gigantic radio telescope. They have 66 of them, so there's quite a lot to combine together. And they've been using that to actually measure Europa's surface temperatures. And they took a global map of Europa's surface temperatures, and they ended up comparing it to the data that Galileo took, which was a NASA orbiter that was at Jupiter from 1995 to 2003. And during a couple close passes of Europa, its magnetometer, which measures magnetic fields, noticed fluctuations in the same area that Hubble data has hinted that there might be water plumes coming out of. And that was something that wasn't seen in the data, Galileo's data originally. That was something that they went back, re-looked at Galileo's data with the better data processing that we have now in 2018 and realized, oh, there's like hints that there's these water plumes potentially on coming out of Europa. So, if you know where those surface temperatures are at, you can figure out where the plumes are at very accurately. And then you can figure out maybe that's an area where the ice is thin, so you could drill through less, or maybe there might be spots where that potential ocean comes up to it, because we actually don't have official confirmation of an ocean at Europa. There's these two models right now. One has a crust of ice with an ocean, which is kind of what we're hoping for, because that gives you super strong possibility of life occurring. But there's also another one that says that it's a crust of ice with convecting ice below it, which would be a little difficult for life to survive in, but not entirely impossible for that to occur. So, ALMA, the radio interferometer, actually looked at the temperature variation and used that reanalysis with the Galileo data, and it did not line up with what we were expecting. It is basically not much of a temperature variation on the surface of Europa. There's no real hot spots anywhere on the surface of Europa. And that, contrasts with the moon of Saturn, Enceladus, where we know that there's liquid water geysers at its south pole, and using Cassini, they actually basically saw very hot spots, 50 degrees Celsius hotter than the South Pole of Enceladus, where these plumes were coming out at.
Still very cold hot spots, though.
Yes, still very cold. Actually, colder than the poles of Europa at those hot spots.
wow.
So, because it's further out. So this is very interesting, because this means that these plumes on Europa, they could be radically different from the plumes that are on Enceladus. The plumes may be seasonal on Europa. They may happen at a certain point in Europa's orbit around Jupiter, where Jupiter's gravity is squeezing and compressing and pulling apart Europa. The plumes may not actually exist. They may just be sort of phantom data that ends up popping in. And Also, another possibility, our current instruments, they may not actually be sensitive enough for us to look at that. We may have to have instruments on board of Europa Clipper in order to answer that, which is NASA's mission they're working with at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory to get that going in the 2020s.
I have a dumb question, Jared.
Sure.
It was a magnetometer. Magnets.
Yeah.
Right.
How's the work?
Yeah, right. Yeah, kind of right.
Free energy? I don't know.
But how is that detecting water, I guess?
Well, water, especially salty water, can actually change the strength of your magnetic field.
Oh, okay.
So that you can actually detect.
So if it was water,
changes.
it would have to be salty water, or just any water can do that?
It's much more prevalent with salty water, but you could still also get it with water too.
And we were only detecting that on Galileo because it's the only thing that would be close enough. Like we're not trying to do that here on Earth.
Yeah, in order to measure.
Juno's not taking these measurements. Right?
Yeah, you can't measure Europa's magnetic field from here on Earth. You actually have to have a magnetometer there at Europa in order to measure that.
So then, how are we measuring it here on Earth? Because you said you had there was a radio array, but like how are they determining that these plumes are actually like what's leading them to believe that the plumes exist at all?
So what happened is that with the Hubble observations, they were looking at the light that was bouncing off of Jupiter that went through the plumes that were coming, or the plumes that were coming out of Europa. So they were doing something that's called spectroscopy, which is basically when you break down light and you take a look at the different wavelengths of light. And in those wavelengths of light, there will be black lines. And that's where a specific element or a chemical or a molecule absorbs that specific wavelength. And when they were looking at it, they pulled out the wavelengths that we would expect to find from Jupiter. And when they just basically looked at the light that would be filtering through the plumes from Europa, very strong indications of water vapor was there in that light, which would indicate to us that there's a plume expending itself out.
So lines over hydrogen and oxygen kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly, in that area. So that's how they did it. So they actually used light from Jupiter going through the plumes in order to work with that. But there's now sort of this toss-up as to whether that's an actual thing or not, because you kind of have to have, we would expect at least to have these hot spots on Europa where the plumes are coming out at, but they didn't find any. So, yeah, it's really weird.
It makes me wonder if either like that was like a really rare thing, like maybe like there was some sort of impact from like a meteor or something like that caused that plume. But I've always imagined that if there is life inside of the oceans of Europa, that it would be really similar to the life that we see in the deep, dark oceans in the aphotic zone of our oceans. Where, just crazy stuff out of nightmares.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking, like, was this a space
Crazy
whale?
stuff out of nightmares.
nightmares.
That's what was waiting for us on
Yes.
Europa.
Yep.
Yeah, and
At the same time, I would be so excited if we put down something that like melted through the ice and poked the camera through to take a look and was immediately. That would be the best. That would be the best.
Confirmed.
Yeah,
Sure.
There's life on Europa. Here's the video.
Europa is our stay away, right? That was the,
exactly. And that ocean's really deep too. If it is a liquid water ocean there, it's literally like over 100 kilometers deep. So if you want to go down to where the Europa thermic vents would be at, you got to have a heck of a pressure vessel in order to pull that off. Because our oceans here on Earth are they're like 12 kilometers deep at the deepest in the Marianas Trench. So that'd be incredibly difficult. One of the ideas that they think with life on Europa is that you don't actually deploy a probe all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. You deploy it at the ice-water boundary because you should be able to.
Correct,
That's a great area where great chemistry can actually occur
And
for
maybe
life
the ice
to occur.
sheets are like rubbing against each other, like tectonic plates.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's causing the plumes.
Yeah, and also at JPL, they're not actually studying like a submarine to go down. They're actually studying these positively buoyant rovers. So basically deploy this thing that floats onto the ice and then drives around on the bottom of the ice.
Jared, they're studying PBR.
Like a
Yes.
bumper car.
So, some of us, I'm sure, on this up here are familiar with that. Some more than others. So,
Oh, man. Anything from the chat room?
So, I mean, a little bit. So, there's the question about. So, if the plumes. So, Peter Quinn asked early on, but then you kind of answered it anyway. If the plumes were water. Or warmer, sorry.
we expect them to be warmer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
being relatively warmer. I mean, this is still not something that you're going to want to like jump out of your spacecraft and take a shower in because it's still going to be really cold. But we would expect at least some kind of signature of a hotspot to be there.
Right. And then Frida asked, any update on a mission to Europa to investigate?
Well, Europa Clipper is pushing ahead, as far as I know, but there's a lot of things that are sort of variable with that. Like, they want to launch Europa Clipper on the Space Launch System, so that way it doesn't have to do a 7-year gravitational assist journey to Jupiter. They just want a literally 24-month direct ascent, just a straight shot to Jupiter. But as far as I know, it's full speed ahead at JPL with Europa Clipper. So.
Smokey Dirk says you were talking about 12 kilometers and wants to know how deep that is in Stoges.
That would be a little bit of a difficult conversion to make. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. Apparently, at some point, I removed Ben Credible from the chat room, but I don't know how or why, and I didn't touch anything. So good luck with that.
So, have fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all I got.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. All right.
Okay.
Turning over to Sarah. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So you had a mouthful in the cold open.
I did indeed. Okay, so when Phoenix lander landed on Mars in 2008, it discovered perchlorates in the soil. And perchlorates are toxic to most life on Earth. But there are a couple so NASA was really excited about that because there are...
This could
we
kill
found
us!
perchlorates! Yes!
Sweet! We can't go to there!
Right? While it is toxic to most life on Earth, there are several forms of life, several microbes that can use perchlorates as their energy source. They don't need the sun. They don't need Marsal energy.
I think it might be aerothermal, actually.
Aerothermal?
Because
Airy
aerothermal. So.
I like Marsothermal.
Yeah, that's cool too. So I'll take it.
Yes, English.
Should this episode be hashtag Marsothermal?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, something like that. All right, so.
Words and stuff.
Words and things.
So these microbes can use perchlorates for their energy. They break the O2 off into, or I should say, they break the O4 off into 2 O2 molecules, and that gives them their energy. And then they're just left with a totally safe chlorine. It's fine, right? So,
Woo-hoo.
yay energy, yay for life.
Salts.
Thing is, well, we knew how high the density of perchlorate is on Mars' soil. We just didn't understand how it got there. Why is Mars so toxic to most life on Earth? Well, we were thinking, well, maybe it's the same way as we would expect here on Earth. The photochemical reaction with the soil and the UV and the sunlight makes perchlorates. It just does that here on Earth. It does that there on Mars as well. Thing is, Mars has 10 million times as much perchlorate as we would expect from that interaction.
Whoa.
Right. That's a huge difference. We need to figure out where that's coming from. So another way that perchlorates can be created here on Earth is lightning strikes. The energy release in that moment does create this multiple chemical family called perchlorates.
Are there lightning storms on Mars?
Nope. Unless you're watching The Martian. No. So Mars' atmosphere is way too thin. It has 0.6% of Earth's surface pressure. That's not enough to build up the static electric energy that we would need for a lightning strike.
Even the crazy dust storms there are just a light breeze here.
Right. But it is from the dust storms. There is enough electrostatic energy built up in the dust storms by having the particulate matter in the air. There is just enough to create this level of perchlorate in the surface of Mars.
Wow.
And so, and this whole process has been going on for all this time, not just in like the early Martian lifespan, but this entire time it's been building up and could build to even higher levels?
Right.
So how is that going to fare for humans landing on Mars? This seems like this would be bad for us.
Right. So that is one of the things that means we would have to be able to filter it out of our water. If we do land at, say, the polar cap, it's going to have perchlorate dust on it, and because those salts, they just get moved with the wind as well. So any of the water that we mine there will have to be able to filter the perchlorates out.
Yeah.
But good thing for us, perchlorates are a great rocket fuel. So,
Yay!
so
We can get home.
yeah. But it does mean that it's going to be a toxin for anyone visiting there. And also, one of the things that they found, Martian soil already has heavy minerals, heavy metals as well in it. So when you're growing, when our future colonies are growing food in Martian soil,
Best sentence of all time.
right?
Yep.
We're probably not going to want to eat potatoes. We're going to want to eat tomatoes. So we don't want the root vegetables. We want the things that grow above the soil. The NASA scientists did some studies on growing vegetables in Martian analog soil. And the root vegetables, the heavy metals and the perchlorates and all that garbage was damaging to the root vegetables. It got to levels that would be toxic to humans. But when you start eating the beans and the tomatoes and the things that grow on stalks above the ground, you start getting into levels that are okay for human consumption.
Can we get
Okay, make sure that it's not completely.
That is, yes.
It's okay though.
Right.
It won't kill you at first.
Right.
Can we get rid of it from the soil? Like, can we?
See, this is why I think that we should be contaminating the planet on purpose. Let's send those microbes that can filter this stuff, and then all we need to do is figure out what to do with the chlorine afterwards.
Not a bad thought that those microbes are. I don't know the role that they play in Earth life, so I don't know that we would want a whole colony of surface life of those.
Just a patch, see what
Microbes?
happens. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that this study has shown that Mark Watney would have died very quickly.
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
Well, before
Well-
he ran out
So-
of ketchup.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Spoilers.
soon.
Sorry, guys.
So wait,
about
that
that.
time lapse of his body deteriorating, that was actually like a couple days? Not years?
I don't think heavy metals work quite that fast even here on Earth, but
I don't know, they messed
It
up my
would've been-
brain.
This is like, but I mean, all of
Oh,
this.
chemicals, not music.
All
Yeah.
of this is legit
Yeah.
bad for us, though, right? I mean, if we're
It is.
going to be on Mars, it seems like. Also, you said what was the pressure of Mars again? 0.6.
yes, 0.6% Earth surface pressure.
So pretty. I would
like
say closer
100
to a
Pascals?
vacuum than it is to
Basically,
Earth.
yeah.
So when we're talking about terraforming Mars, we've got to bring the pressure up
Yeah.
by most like 99.4%. Although
And
I
we have
suppose
to
we don't need
figure
to
out
bring it
how
all the way up.
we have to figure out a way for it to stay there too. Otherwise, it's just going to
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
magnetosphere to like.
Right.
Well, there's no anything, right?
Yes.
There's no
Yeah.
spinning. There's no any of this.
Well, I mean-
We don't know about the core. So InSight is actually InSight that's gonna
The core.
the core.
We need to drill to the
Right.
center of Mars and restart the core. It's the core 2 out in theaters next
Oh,
year.
the pain, the pain. But so we've got a couple options for that. I mean, first, we don't know about Mars's core yet. We are pretty sure that it does have at least a molten core. It's that core is not spinning, and so. The NASA lander that's going to get there on November 26th.
The
Yes.
InSight
Yes,
lander?
InSight lander. It's a seismometer. And so we're going to have a much better idea of what the interior structure of Mars is like, so we'll better understand why it lost its magnetic field. And so then we might have an idea of what we need to do to protect Mars's atmosphere in the future. NASA has an idea of putting a dipole in space in a solar orbit, just in a Lagrange point, just in front of Mars, between Mars and the Sun, that would create a magnetic shield, basically, just like literally holding Captain America's shield in front of Mars and having the solar wind deflected.
It needs to look like Captain America's
It really
shield.
does.
That would be
Like-
amazing. That would be also
Right. We
like
could
it needs to have a camera on board too that shows this
Yeah.
live view
I
of
gotta
Captain
say-
America's shield holding the solar radiation at bay. Oh yes.
You guys are going to have to make a deal with Wakanda to get all that vibranium. I mean, that's going to take
So
that's
we
gonna
don't-
be really difficult.
We don't need the physical one. We could have the energy that Stark created for him. So we could, within the energy
okay.
field, we could draw the star and then the rings.
Okay.
I have not thought about this in depth.
Oh man. Well, I mean, Elon has joked, maybe not joked about nuking the poles and restarting the cores that way.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, but nuking the poles doesn't
Nuking
work,
the
right?
poles,
Yeah.
no.
That doesn't work.
No,
Okay.
that doesn't. Because
and you'd radiate all that water.
No,
so
that's not how that works.
So-
all that
no.
ice.
So, yeah, physics says no.
Yeah, physics says no.
Okay, hashtag physics says no. That might be the
Yes.
new.
Says no.
We are going to have to science the shit out of this, but physics says no.
Anything from the chat room?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Whoa!
Everyone wants to talk about toxic
Well,
things.
Yeah,
if you-
apparently.
Yeah, so Seki wants to know how many active rovers are on Mars right now.
Active?
Active. Officially confirmed that we are communicating with rovers 1. Curiosity is still going because we have not heard back from Opportunity yet, but we're still trying.
All right.
And
Michael,
there are no more landers that are active at all, right?
Landers? No.
No.
Everyone knowing,
nothing.
for those who like rovers literally move, landers go bloop and they stay there. They can't move. They're stuck there.
Yeah. We have lots and lots of orbiters, and that's
Yeah,
how
that
we
are still
are
active,
communicating. Yeah.
Michael Farrell from YouTube says, with so much O oxygen tied up in the Martian soil, is a possible source for atmosphere?
Oh. Toxic atmosphere? Like, can we release all the toxins into the heavy
Release
metal
the
atmosphere
hounds.
somehow? Yeah.
Well, if we could release that O2, that'd be great. But Earth's atmosphere is about 21% oxygen. The rest is nitrogen, and I don't know that we've got a source for replenishing that.
Can we bring our own?
That would be a plant thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
plant thing, okay.
And
so
you've also-
next dumb question: soil bad for us, but what about like if we wanted to bring trees and whatnot? Will the trees be able to survive that, or
Like
what's going to
eucalyptus and
happen?
Bamboo and stuff.
Right, that I don't know. Some fast-living, fast-dying plant matter. That I don't know.
A lot of oxygen.
Right. I mean, if we would have, I would imagine that the heavy metals wouldn't have quite the same effect on plants as it would on us.
They would have
But-
gold brick leaves then. That's how that works, by the way. Just leaves made of gold.
I'm for it.
That's what that means.
Just picturing like a
May or
kelp
may
forest
not
of
glow in the
unobtainium now.
Another big problem is that you've got to figure is that when you are building up the atmosphere of Mars, you've also got to build it up faster than the sun's solar wind is stripping
Right.
it away.
So first, the
exactly.
dipole.
Yes.
So lots of
Then-
challenges.
If you don't go the dipole / Captain America / vibranium shield
Right.
route, we've
Yeah.
got to do. Yeah.
I've always wondered too if we could crash asteroids and comets into Mars on purpose.
Right, the
use
redirect.
all sorts of capture missions and stuff like that.
Well, so Jazz Thoreau says, I'm a geologist. I can tell you that the reaction to the soil of removing O2 is much bigger issue than losing atmosphere to space. He goes on to say, you can free oxygen from the soil, but the problem is keeping the soil from taking it up quickly again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it will rebond with stuff.
Yep.
So.
I'll just
Yeah.
take
Oxygen
that.
is very reactive.
Yeah.
Oxygen's like, I want all the electrons.
Right?
So
It's basically the reason Earth is the way it is plants. Plants bound up all the carbon, and it is because of plants that we have free O2 molecules.
So the answer to Mars is we need to figure out how to get just a boatload of plants there.
Yep.
Way to go, plants.
Yes, we love
Plants
you,
for
plants.
nothing.
Again, let's
No.
start contaminating the
Come on,
planet.
plants.
Let's start launching missions that have a ton of seed pods in them. Let's just do it.
Hack the planet! All right. Let's take a quick break to show what Space Mike is going to have to deal with next week. Now, before we do that, we wanted to thank our patrons of tomorrow for helping make this show happen. These people have contributed $10 or more to the specific episode. We're trying to do a bunch of cool new things with the show, and every single person contributing to the show helps to make that happen. Space Mike, you were just recently at a conference.
right.
The patrons helping to make this go. Our citizens help pay your way to make that happen, and we'll get some, hopefully some really cool... Did you get some good interviews out of that?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's quite a few interviews that I got, but probably my favorite one is I got to sit down with the new CEO of Maston Space Systems.
Ooh.
And we talked about quite a bit of stuff. I'm very excited to share that interview.
Cool. All right. So
Nice.
for information, head over to patreon.com/TMRO. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more space news.
Into her face, determination in her eyes. She won't give up or quit or fall for little fashion lies. Filled with awesome expectation, this girl's a fascination. And nothing in her way will keep her from her destination. 'Cause she's fire walking, she's fire walking. When it's hot,
And we have acquisition of signal. Haha. I forgot to say loss of signal before the thing. I'm making it a thing. I'm making it a thing.
Just those little laughs behind it.
Oh, and you know what
It was
else
so
I didn't
good.
do? I was going to, so I introduced Mike, and then I was going to introduce each person as I went to, and then I promptly didn't do that.
Thanks.
So,
I had a
Thanks for
feeling. That's why I was like, you sure you don't want to go?
yeah,
over
no.
real quick?
What I should do is introduce people as we go to them.
Okay, well, nobody cares anymore now.
Again, this is Ben, the founder of the show. I'm Space Mike. I love rockets.
Creator of Tomorrow. No. So let's.
This is Jared.
We're going to try to do it the way I intended to do it.
This is
Actually, I'm going to move the show order around a little bit. So actually, we're going to start with Jared. And Jared.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're up next. You're going
Jeez,
first.
again.
And actually, for those who don't know you, you work up at Griffith Observatory.
Yes.
Yes. It's doing astronomy. Well, you kind of do the. You help people understand astronomy.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
So,
that's-
because scientists not particularly great at talking to people. So, not
But Jared
known for
Head,
it. But
amazing.
in my case,
It's the Mohawk.
it is the linear harrow spike.
So what have
yeah.
you got? You've got.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about some fast things because everybody likes fast things, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's just hot, nasty speed is what everybody wants. And speaking of fast
Said
things,
no one ever, but thank you for
Speaking
that.
of
Go
fast
on.
things,
Yeah, no, go. It's totally fine. Just let the man talk.
So, fast stuff happened this week near the sun, which is Parker Solar Probe, which is just like an incredible mission to literally go out and touch the upper atmosphere of the sun. Like, that's, I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, just like that. Here, we'll show it again. Show it again real quick. Yeah, just like that. Just like that. Parker Solar Probe has completed its first perihelion of its first orbit, which basically means this is when it's closest to the sun for this first orbit. Now, this occurred on November 5th. It did it about 24 million kilometers from the center of the sun. So, whoa, that's close. It was very, very close. In fact, it was so close that Parker Solar Probe was moving at 343,000 kilometers an hour. So that's like a lot. Wow. That's a lot of kilometers per hour. That is 95 kilometers per second. So, which I'd much rather move that fast to like get to my vacation places than
what is the
what it usually
fastest system
takes.
we have in the solar system? Is that it?
Yes,
That's got to be like
that is. It has officially in its first orbit around the sun, which is nowhere near its closest orbit. It has set both the speed record and the distance record for closest to the sun for a spacecraft that we have set.
How hot is that thing going to get?
So the heat shield, it reached 435 degrees Celsius during this one. So during this pass.
That's not even as close as it's going to get.
No, and yeah, that's a little hot, ain't it? So I mean, like 435 degrees Celsius, you're like, if you're cooking burgers, like those are charred at the second. So yeah.
I was wondering if you were Googling that.
I am. I'm actually pulling this up right now.
I was trying to take a look at your
because I couldn't recall. I did not write down in my notes what the hottest for Celsius was.
I could see the look on your face of like,
so
I need
here
to
I go
trim
again.
it.
So the hottest it will get during its closest points on its orbit, which will happen around 2024, 2025. The heat shield will get up to about 1,370 degrees Celsius on the side facing the sun. And the interesting thing about that is that the things
For how long, though?
Well, I mean, for days at a time. So, I mean, you're getting close to the sun. So you're getting progressively closer. So, I would imagine as the heat builds, it's not going to be like 2,500. It's not 1,370 degrees Celsius for this entire week, but it obviously reaches a peak, but it's going to be really dang hot, for a very long time. And I mean, most things don't do well in really dang hot for long periods of time.
So Helga says, oh boy, that's hotter than you need in a pottery kiln.
Yes.
No kidding. And
that's the sun for you.
BF says melting point of lead is a lot lower at 327 C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, it's using very similar to the reinforced carbon-carbon that is used used on the space shuttle's heat shield.
Yeah.
So
there.
one side of it's blazingly hot, and then it
Yes.
just absorbs that. On the other side, you could almost touch it with your hand.
Everything
Probably
It is-
would not recommend that.
No, it's actually supposed to be about room temperature on the other
Yeah,
side.
I was going to say,
Wow.
in
Well,
the
wait,
shadow.
What's room temperature in space, though?
So in the shadow.
no.
It's a big
room
room.
temperature of Earth.
So in the shadow of the shield on the other side, the instruments will be at about 25 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and they actually confirmed that with this first perihelion that it kept them right at
So
about
is it just
24
like
degrees Celsius.
is it just like the shuttle shields where they're only about like yay thick?
They're about
I'm-
4 inches.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's much thicker.
Yeah.
So that's
than
about
that.
like
so.
Yeah.
whatever that
Yeah.
comes out to in the metric system because I'm a terrible human
Yeah.
being.
And I think it's that way because I think it's much thicker because it's
15
sustained for much
centimeters?
longer. So, but yeah. So it started data gathering on October 31st as it started to really get close to the sun. But we're not actually going to be able to get the data back until December because the Parker Solar Probe actually has to sort of move out of magnetic interference from the sun. Before it can actually send the data. Because if it sends the data right now, it's just going to be like completely garbled by that. But here they are at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory getting basically a carrier signal that says, hey guys, I survived. So there you go.
Is that its voice too for the probe?
That is now canon for
Got it.
it.
Yep,
So
yep,
yeah,
yep.
there you go. So yeah, holy moly.
Wow.
So we're going fast and we're cooking.
So Marty the Martian says it's hotter than Australian February.
Yeah, that's true.
So for
Hotter
those of
than Arizona summer.
Yeah. Yes.
Sheesh.
Well, let's see. The thing is that in the southern atmosphere, or the southern atmosphere,
The
in
southern atmosphere. No, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the
man.
title for the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it goes.
The Mars hashtag Southern Atmosphere.
I hate you all because now I'm so off track.
No, you're fine.
Hemisphere is the word that I want. February is summer.
Right.
Right. So for those of us in the northern hemisphere, that sounds weird. I apologize for that. Mac then says, Jared, days when one side is always facing the sun. How did days work?
What is the sound of one hand clapping? What color is blue? I don't know.
So, dumb question, like, why are we doing this? So, yeah, cool. We've got the spacecraft.
Sure.
It's really hot. It's getting sucked into the sun's
Gravitational,
well.
yeah.
It's going to be moving 1 unit of absurdly fast.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's going to be moving 2 units absurdly fast.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we're doing this because the sun is kind of important to Earth, right?
bit, yeah, the
so
day star.
Basically, like, almost all of the energy that we use here on Earth comes from the sun. So whether you want to admit it or not, you basically run off of photosynthesis. Through the food web, that's how you survive. So congratulations. You are entirely dependent upon the sun. Also, we are basically like in the firing range of the sun. So, so if the sun pops off a big flare, it has the capability of like destroying electronics and things like that. It's not going to do like that one Nicolas Cage movie where like fire rolled across the earth and that was it. The earth was cooked. Like that's not how that works.
Is that a real movie?
Yeah,
now.
I think so. It's like
He heard your idea and he already made it.
so.
It's the sun. Sorry.
Nice.
The sun is going to try the earth.
But yeah, but it's obviously very important, especially the geostationary spacecraft and GPS satellites and other things like that, like things that we kind of depend on in order for civilization to work. So
Famously happened to the telegraph system, right? It electrified the
yeah,
whole
the
system.
Carrington event in the 19th century. Also, another really good one in the 80s in Canada. I can't remember where in Canada it was, but there was a solar storm that literally knocked out the entire power grid. Right in the middle of winter, too. So I don't think anybody died, but obviously, I would imagine a winter in Canada without power, not exactly.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's very bad. He's going to get really cold, really fast.
Oh, yeah.
So not exactly a good thing. So by getting like deep into the sun's atmosphere, not only are you taking samples like right there, so you could see what happens when these kinds of events occur, you can also look out of the sun's atmosphere. You could see how these events continue out as well. And what's really cool.
So you're looking away from the sun and watching it go
So,
past you?
so it has cameras. There's 2 cameras on board, a wide field and a narrow field camera that will actually allow Parker Solar Probe to watch things from the sun that are zipping past it. And what you can do, especially at the points where the Earth, you'll have spacecraft that are in orbit around the Earth, or at Earth-Sun L1, I think, that are looking at the sun. You can actually look you can combine the images that are taken from Earth-Sun L1 with what Parker Solar Probe is taking, and you could generate a 3D model of whatever is going out into the solar system, and you could get a really good idea of how that interacts on its way out. So then you can get much better at predicting space weather and other things like that. So, which is of the utmost importance, especially if you're going to start sending crewed missions on very long duration flights.
Even just to the moon.
Yeah, even to the moon.
Just to the moon. Like
yeah,
if
you're
you
only in the Earth's magnetosphere for maybe a couple days during the orbit. So the rest of the time you're fully exposed. So
yeah.
Wiki, Dutta is what I'm trying to say, wins. And those of you who are wondering, the Nicolas Cage film in question is called Knowing.
Oh my God, I was joking. I did not think it was a real movie.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's
everything
knowing.
about that is terrible.
I just remember that it was like a movie where he's like obsessed with numbers, and all these numbers are like proving to be real or something like that.
But I thought it was like a buried signal thing. I thought there was like a countdown to something, wasn't it? I saw that movie and probably forgot it. But
oh man. Oh, that's all ringing. It feels like all of those bad sci-fi movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like numbers buried in a kid's doodle.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think that's
and
actually
in
what
the
it is.
crosswords and
Wait, was that movie, or was that the Kiefer Sutherland TV show Numbers? Not Numbers, but the other.
Oh yeah. The other one after 24.
Yeah.
Designated Survivor?
No, somebody's gonna know though.
Okay. Well, obviously we don't know what we're talking about.
Well, we diverged.
Obviously, sorry.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
So there you go.
Interesting. Anything else from the chat room?
Sorry.
You're stuck in the movie still.
I was.
Smoky turkey.
I was.
That is such a good.
Yeah, we're not even going there. No, I mean, not really. Like, no. All of that made sense, and we got onto like a whole lot of other
All right.
stuff. So it's fine.
Let's move on. Let's move over to.
I would have interjected.
Let's move over to Sarah. Let's go back to you. I should. I'm going to do this live on the air. So I moved all of your notes into the thing. Are you okay with this story, by the way?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
There was a whole little last minute time zone thing. So, all right. And I haven't introduced you. So, Sarah Vincent, you also work at the observatory.
Yes, I do.
And you also educate people on all things happening in our cosmos.
Yes.
Yes, that is your role, is to get people excited and understanding on up at Griffith Observatory.
I do.
Dare I say, one of the premier observatories for
In the world.
for normal people.
Only municipal observatory in the world that I'm aware of. So.
I'm pretty proud
Well,
of
I mean,
it.
you can't normally just go to an observatory, right?
No,
But
in
Griffith-
fact, our benefactor, Griffith J. Griffith, when he went to Mount Wilson, after looking through the telescope, because, money, they wanted to get some money out of him.
For more private observatories.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like, what's the public think of this? And they're like, we don't let public up here. We're scientists. So that's where he got the idea of having an observatory specifically for the public.
Yeah.
So, and we've been doing it for 83 years now.
It's iconic and beautiful. And if you're ever in the Los Angeles area,
gorgeous.
Absolutely something you need to do.
Yeah. Go to
and
it.
you can probably find one of these two up there.
I'm not hard to miss.
You are not. And if you see them, just ask them to show you how to do things.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So Sarah,
Awesome. Okay, so let's see. I'm back on Mars.
Return to Mars.
You're stuck on Mars this week. All right.
So
Don't eat the plants.
Hologram from Mars is much better than mine. Jesus.
Second generation technology, Mike.
Right? Yeah. Upgrade. So all right, so this one is about Mars water.
Great. So we start with how you can't grow anything in the soils, and now you're going to end with how you can't drink any of the water.
Right. Yeah. But this was ancient Martian water, so it was probably way less perchlorate-y.
Okay.
All right. So this is a team from Jackson State University. They used Curiosity's pictures of the surrounding terrain in Gale Crater, and we know the Gale Crater was an eroded. It's a crater that filled with sediment over time, and then it was eroded fairly quickly, leaving that peak in the middle. The sharp peak is not a volcanic peak. It is not an uplift. It is not a
Like it's almost like the plates, tectonic,
yeah, it's not.
You're saying it's an island?
It is an island unto itself.
Wait, what?
Yes, Sharp
Yep.
Peak is a sedimentary erosion artifact. Because sediment in the
water
crater.
all around that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then that fast
Water
moving
that you can't drink, but still water.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you
water
could
just
have back
falls
then,
on.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so it was left behind, and that leaves layers of the sediment exposed. And so studying the images that Curiosity has taken, this team from Jackson State University, they said, whoa, we can determine from the lumps in the ground around Curiosity that the erosion happened really fast. It was fast-moving water that shaped the terrain and left Sharp Peak in its path.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why the speed? Like gravity?
So he said that the lead scientist on this said that it was probably an event or an epoch in Mars's evolution, a couple billion years ago, when it had that world ocean that created a situation that was a lot like Earth's Pleistocene era, where we had a frozen northern hemisphere and a melted, warm southern hemisphere that created huge melts that just whipped from the northern hemisphere down to the southern hemisphere, eroding huge swaths in its path. Mars had a similar thing, but just reversed those poles. Southern hemisphere was frozen, northern hemisphere was warm, flooding.
Mass flash flooding.
Mass flash flooding, and like 10 to 20 meters deep. Yeah.
Wow. Where'd all the water go?
Oh, the
It's in
sun
space
stole
now.
it.
The sun stole
The
it?
sun stole the atmosphere,
Yeah.
and it stole the water with it.
Man,
I know.
thanks, son.
Right? Parker
left
Solar
behind in
Probe's going to
space
tell us all about
long
the
ago.
how.
Yeah, that's why we sent Parker Solar Probe to collect.
Yeah.
So that's what's up.
Wow.
I feel like its voice should be more like a regulator then.
Regular.
Parker Solar Probe, I'm doing fine. My senses are good.
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you, son. How long's it been? Yeah, maybe that ought to work a bit better.
Does this have any leads for like life that could have existed then? Because if there's water, much
Right.
like we were talking with Enceladus Europa, do we think that maybe there was, rudimentary life back then, or do we not really know?
We don't know for sure that. So this one is more like if there was life. So this was the period with the world ocean. So if there was going to be life, it would have been then. So if there was life, this is more the environment that they would have been dealing with. So by the way, that lovely that plant, your root system and everything, it's going to get washed away by this.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but this is actually this might be actually interesting for the Mars 2020 rover when we're picking as we're picking landing sites. One of the sites, Jezero, I want to say.
yeah, Jezero Crater.
Jezero Crater,
which is the leading
Yes.
site right now,
Yes.
by the way. So
It's actually a tributary system. And
What's that mean?
so it's a river system, ancient river system on Mars, and so all of the plant life that would have been upstream and uprooted by these floods that might have passed through Gale Crater, looks like it did pass through Gale Crater, it would have taken uphill, upriver plant life, if there was any, and washed it down and deposited it in this alluvial fan, this fan of river sediment as it reaches a larger body of water. And so if we land Mars 2020 at Jezero Crater, then we might be looking at the deposits of floods from events like this that created Mount Sharp.
That's pretty cool. Now,
Yeah.
Mars 2020 is basically Curiosity 2.0.
Right.
So it can
Upgrades.
Yeah, upgrades, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Will it be able to drill down and look for stuff like that?
Hopefully,
Like-
yeah. So one of the things on Mars 2020, one of the missions is to find evidence, if there is any, of prehistoric life on Earth. We're looking for actual, proteins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to say, just to kind of add on,
Yeah.
talking about floods and stuff,
Yeah.
floods are great for chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
So if you get like floodwater eroding rocks and other things like that, you
Yes.
get great chemistry in that water, which is super important for life actually occurring. So
Yeah.
Well, okay, so somebody in the chat room off of YouTube, Jan Drake, said, so some of the former Martian water now sits on outer planets as the sun blew it off. Like,
More like in interstellar space. 'Cause
Yeah.
It probably got left behind way back then as the sun is orbiting around the galaxy. So who knows where that water is now? It might have all evaporated.
Well, so-
Maybe it all
so
went to
it's-
Enceladus, and that's what we're seeing.
yeah,
It was ionized. So the way the sun strips a planet of its water is the radiation heats the water on the surface and it vaporizes it, and then the ion, so it also ionizes it. So it breaks it up into its oxygen and its hydrogen, and then it strips the lighter hydrogen away. And so because it takes the charged particles from the sun, kind of take the charged particles from the surface of the atmosphere and lead them off into space. So it's just atomic cloud out in the outer solar system.
Yeah, the oxygen stays there and it actually ends up bonding with the carbon already in Mars's atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that's why Mars's atmosphere is basically
Basically.
like 99.5% carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Chemistry, yo.
Right?
So,
Mic drop.
Microscope drop. Microscope.
So, for those who don't know what happened right there, someone likes a little online, what is it, Steve?
Dr. Steve Brule.
Dr. Steve Brule, which is definitely your homework to go look up the world's largest microscope.
wow.
I see what happened.
That was amazing. That was great.
I'm about to cry.
I think that's a good one to move on from.
Oh, yeah.
So,
By the way, thank you, Everyday Astronaut, and thank you, Mac Malcali, for the tips. We really appreciate it.
What tips?
On YouTube.
We got some
we got
money.
some tips on YouTube.
Oh, hey.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys.
thank you.
I've been passively watching. So,
Yeah.
So Space Mike, let's head on over to you. We've been
Yeah.
talking about Mars. Let's talk about the company that's trying to send
Trying to
humans
get to Mars,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So you said upgrades to Falcon. What
That's
does
right.
that mean?
And there was a couple of SpaceX updates this week I wanted to talk about, but Elon teased over Twitter that there was going to be an update to the mod tech tree of the Falcon 9. And I mean, he said that they were going to be doing basically a miniature version of the big Falcon spaceship, but stage 2 sized on the Falcon 9. And test out all of the different reentry technologies that they eventually want to have for the big Falcon spaceship. And some of you may remember several years ago there was animations that SpaceX had put out about ways to not only have the upper stage of the Falcon rocket re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and have solar panels on the side, protective panels on the side. Why can't I speak? Heat shield on one side of the upper stage so it could re-enter the atmosphere, and then it would have landing legs to be able to land propulsively on the surface of the planet. And some of the people that asked Elon Musk follow-up questions, at first asked, when would that possibly be flying? And he said maybe June, and I'm assuming that means June of next year. I hope.
It's Elon time, dude.
Yeah, but still, that's a good that's a good self deadline to put.
That is clever of him to give a month, but not a year.
Yeah.
You can be like, I didn't say this year. I didn't say next year.
Yeah, so
I guess you guys extrapolated that yourselves.
Yeah, I never said that. I just said June.
that's why I said I hope that he means 2019, but yeah, it could be any time. But asking Everyday Astronaut actually asked a follow-up question as to whether or not it would do propulsive landing, like this old idea to have propulsive landings of the upper stage. And basically, Elon said no. This was just to test the different type of re-entry technologies they want for the big Falcon spaceship. And I'm without having any other details. I mean, this is just a teaser from Elon, but I'm guessing that means a lot of the different wings that aren't wings that would be on the big Falcon spaceship.
Wings that aren't wings.
Yeah.
I would say they know how to definitely have hypersonic reentry for a stick, but they don't. But you need that experience with a lifting body, if you will, in this case.
Right.
And that's probably where the knowledge at the moment is lacking. So.
I guess I don't understand how you would view you're referring to stage 1 as a stick, but stage 2 is a lifting body? Like
No, I'm
on
With the
assuming that.
addition of. Like,
I see
yeah.
what you're saying. With the addition
Yeah.
of that. Okay.
Yeah. So assuming that.
And I mean,
So-
even if they wanted to still do recovery options like that, because I think it would be amazing if we did have a regular Falcon spaceship that the upper stage was connected to like a modified Dragon or something like that, and
Yeah.
all of that came down
That'd be
and
amazing.
landed in the same way that the big Falcon spaceship. But as it stands right now, the upper stage on the Falcon 9 isn't powerful enough to be able to actually land on the surface of Earth because it's vacuum optimized. So
What does that mean? Like, why does that make a difference?
So with the whole thrust to weight ratio and how the nozzle especially on the engine is made is to optimize it to have the most amount of thrust in the vacuum of space as possible. Why that's important is because you don't have any atmosphere to push against, and so without that atmosphere to push against, even though the power of the rocket might be the same if you had a different size nozzle on it as if you were inside the Earth's atmosphere, because it's that giant nozzle that's vacuum optimized, it would not be very efficient. You'd think that more surface area would be able to have give you more resistance or more propulsion inside of the atmosphere, but because of the way that the thrust to weight ratio is calculated, and I don't know how it actually is for the Falcon 9. That amount of thrust, when it's in, I guess, its full thrust mode in space for the upper stage, would still not be powerful enough for it to have a safe propulsive landing. It might be able to slow down a little bit if they had some extra fuel on board, but they'd have to have a different type of engine.
Everyday Astronaut off of YouTube says, well, it's plenty powerful enough. It would just destroy itself because of flow separation. I mean, I wouldn't know, so I have to take his word for that, honestly.
It's the general premise of, like, you look at any rocket when it stages, you've got those much smaller bells at sea level, and then you've got those much larger bells, engine bells in the vacuum of space, and that's there's a pressure change, there's a pressure differential between sea level and space, and so you actually change the size and shape of the bell to deal with that, deal with the expansion of the plume. And you can watch as any rocket lifts off, and you'll see on the launch pad, depending upon how the engineers decided to optimize the sea level engines, a lot of them you'll see the rocket fires kind of makes a V shape like this. You're actually under optimized, and then as it lifts off, it'll slowly, as the pressure reduces, you'll see that slowly become like perfectly straight up and down, and you're at perfect optimization right here, and that's usually a bit, a bit above sea level at that point. And then as it continues to go up, you're going to see the plume continue to expand, and that's your expansion, and you're actually losing efficiency as you're doing that.
Yep.
And so then you stage your vehicle for a couple of reasons. You want to get rid of that dead weight, but you also want to use a vacuum optimized engine at that point. And again, this applies to every rocket. So you take that vacuum optimized engine, and now you've got it again. If you were able to see the fire in space, which you generally can't because there's nothing for it to really burn against or show against. If you're able to see it, it would basically be straight up and down again. Should be perfectly optimized.
Yeah. So just get an Aerospike engine.
Just get an and so Aerospike engines are actually interesting. I think that's a whole different topic. But yeah, so an Aerospike engine is designed to automatically compensate for the pressure as it changes, and it will basically always be as optimized as it can be.
There's variable
it's not
regions.
like
It's much easier for an Aerospike to be optimized throughout the entire regime of flight from sea level to vacuum than you would with most other propulsion systems.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of why, right? So if you're going to try to take a vacuum engine back into Earth, that you're going to have expansion issues at that point.
Yeah, it would underexpand, and that's bad. So, because you'll have, in the flow separation. Yeah. Wow, that turbo pump spun really fast.
Aside from that, though, there was a couple of other updates this week that SpaceX had. They tested out one of their new recovery ships they have called the Go Searcher ship, which has a landing platform on it, but unfortunately it's not for rockets. It's for a helicopter, actually. This is the recovery ship that's going to be recovering the crewed Dragon capsules after they return from the International Space Station with crew on board.
Put rockets on the helicopter.
Hey, there's an idea.
Rocket copter.
But yeah, you can see kind of on the deck they would have a crane that would lift the capsule onto the deck of the ship, and then the whole point of having a helicopter there is in the case of medical emergencies. They do have some facilities on the ship itself, but if there is a medical emergency, they need to be able to fly them out of there, the astronauts, as quickly as possible. So they tested out this recovery ship this week, and nice to see some of these images. Although it makes me wonder now if they could potentially do any sort of rocket landings on this. I don't know. Probably too small. Anyway, but other than that,
if you go back to that original image, there's a wheelhouse right next to the platform.
Yeah, and if you look really closely, you can see a guy standing right next to it.
I feel
That's
like
a
That
really
humans
small
on
pad.
board would want you to.
She's coming in hot, Captain.
I feel like that would not.
Like, neat and all, but unless it's autonomous, like, I wouldn't want to be that human.
Yeah, no kidding.
No thanks. So
I'm sure Elon could make it autonomous if it's not already.
I'm just saying.
So what is changing out? So going back to did you have more? I'm sorry.
Other than that, just something that I thought that was cool this week is that some of the commercial crew astronauts trained this week at SpaceX headquarters, Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, they actually were training inside the actual SpaceX spacesuits, the real working ones, and I'm not sure which module that are inside right now. I don't know if this is actually a flight model, one of the test articles, or if this is just a simulator. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting that all of these happenings have been going on at SpaceX just in the past week. So
we're getting close to both SpaceX and Boeing doing crew flights in early 2019, right?
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
Yay!
So what does the stage 2 stuff mean for SpaceX or just in general? Like, are we going to...
So yeah, I guess we kind of missed the whole point right there, was that the whole reason of testing this was to test the technologies for their Big Falcon spaceship, which they want to use to land on Mars and eventually send people there and contaminate the planet.
Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
But why do that? Because they're also working on, they made the announcements of BFR and BFS, Big Falcon rocket, Big Falcon spaceship. So why do this at all to Falcon?
So I think that just like how we were kind of saying, they need data and they need experience with lifting bodies and the technology that they want to use on the Big Falcon spaceship. Do they need that? I don't know. They might only be able to get that type of test from BFR, or rather BFS, with an actual BFR launch. So it makes sense to me as even if this is just a one-off test of here's a way that we can get data from this, but I would hope that this is an actual improvement and we might actually have Dragon, Falcon spaceships that, would be
cool.
just a six person or something.
Dragon Falcon spaceship hurts my head.
That does hurt, yeah. But if we had a Falcon spaceship that flew on the Falcon 9, I think that would be awesome because it would kind of meet Elon's original goal of having the entire vehicle be reusable. The first stage, the second stage, and the capsule. So.
And I just kind of want to throw in too, because some people in the chat room were saying that testing a mini BFS for atmospheric entry or hypersonic testing would not be needed because they're going to land propulsively. But that's at the end of the landing regime. You still have to deal with hypersonic entry in atmosphere, both at Earth and at Mars. So, and you have to get the data from that. And you're also going to be moving faster than a Falcon 9 Stage 1 as well.
Just a wee bit there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a wee bit.
I think what does Stage 1 separate at? Like Mach 6, I want to say? Mach 6
probably
or 7?
go back to one of the webcasts. And look
So,
at the
yeah,
meters.
probably something like that. And, I mean, you're doing Mach 25 coming back in here at Earth. So
wait, hang on.
A little bit faster.
I do want to challenge you on using Mach speed. Like,
I don't know
Mach
what the
is the
Mach
speed
speed
of
is.
sound.
Fine.
So,
28,000 kilometers an hour.
Thank you. Now I know what you're talking
hair
about.
splitter.
I actually, legitimately, though, like, how do you measure Mach when there's no air? What would the Mach speed of Stage 1 separation be? It would be 0, right?
Infinity.
Technically infinity.
Infinity,
so-
yeah, go the other way. Yeah,
but
yeah,
I guess
so-
ground speed is what I'm trying to say here.
All right.
Like speed over ground.
Something else
So-
I just remembered is that SpaceX is contractually obligated to test a subscale version of their Merlin, or not the Merlin, the Raptor engine that is using methane, and they're doing that for the United States Air Force. So there's at least one mission that they would do on a Falcon 9 using a Raptor engine on the upper stage. So maybe they'll be combining both goals, test out the meet that obligation of doing an actual flight of a subscale Raptor engine, and while they're at it, get all the different data that they need for that type of reentry.
Yeah, drawing some assumptions, though.
That's,
right?
that's definitely drawing some assumptions. No, that's just a thought that I had that, like, maybe, because it sounds to me like this would probably be a one-off. Like, I don't see SpaceX, unless they are planning on recovering the upper stages of the Falcon 9 through some sort of plan like this, I only see them doing it maybe like one or two times, like if they needed to get additional data or the first one wasn't successful. So if it were me, why not meet that other obligation as well and fly the Raptor engine that they have to do at least once anyway? So one-off mission and a different one-off mission, why not combine them? That's my idea anyway.
Cool. Exciting announcements from SpaceX. Exciting to see what they're going to do. We're calling it Block 5.1? Block 5?
Sure.
5.5?
Block 5 full thrust?
Block 5 full... Yeah, Block 5 Mark II full thrust. Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Falcon 9 Block 5 upper thrust.
Upper thrust version 2.
The upper thrust.
Mark.
Upper thrust Elon tweet special.
And ETS.
Yes,
And
there we go.
ETS.
The ETS,
Yeah, so
the Elon tweet special. Oh, man.
We are so on top of things.
We're going
with
to
this
take a
show.
quick break, and before we do, thank you to all of the citizens of tomorrow who helped make this show go. Again, your contributions to the show are what make this possible week after week. Looking at our calendar, it looks like we're going to be able to do this show 50. That's 50 times this year. That's pretty incredible when you think about it's just a group of space geeks getting together and trying to do space geeky things in our free time, and it's because of everyone in there that we've been able to do this. And if you'd like to see improvements in the show, us do cool new things, expand the show beyond where it's at right now, head on over to patreon.com/TMRO, figure out how you can become a citizen of tomorrow, or if that doesn't work for you, also just subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell, that helps us a great deal. Tell people about the show, that helps us out as well.
Yeah.
And if you've got another talent, like if you like doing animations, you like doing doodles, I said cooking last week and I got mocked for that, but anything, you've got some talent somewhere, head on over to the community forums, let us know what you would like to do and how you would like to contribute. We would love to work with you on something, anything. We think it's a lot of fun. We're community driven. That's what we do. We're going to take a quick break. It's another calendar break because there's a obscene number of launches next week. And then when we come back, on-demand comments. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. LOS.
Look into her face, determination in her eyes. She won't give up or quit or fall for little fashion lies. Filled with awesome expectation, this girl's a fascination. And nothing in her way will keep her from her destination. 'Cause she's fire walking, she's fire walking. When it's hot, she keeps on moving. Through the heat, keeps on improving. Yeah, she's fire walking, she's fire walking to be free.
Acquisition signal. So Alex Physics in the break actually said, Ben forgot about S-Hail 2. I didn't. So,
is that one still a maybe?
No, here's what happened. I eat my own dog food, and Tomorrow is basically the sponsor of Launch Library, and we get all of our data out of Launch Library. When we built the calendar, which was late last night, S-Hail 2 on Launch Library was marked as to be determined in November, which means it didn't have a date attached to it. Now, if you go to another website such as Spaceflight Now, they did have a date attached to it. So because of that, and because I dog food this stuff, I did not include it in the calendar because Launch Library didn't say that it was a thing for this week. That's why it's not in the calendar. So yes, I should go over and actually say something on the Launch Library Discord channel. If you would like to help make sure that our launches are up to date, head on over to community.tmro.tv and I will get you in touch with everyone over at Launch Library because there are many ways you can help the show. Launch Library is one of them. It's actually one of those really cool things. If you don't know, it's a free API for developers to add launches into their apps. Yep. So when you get those apps that say, hey, look up historical flights, look up flights that are coming up, it is a great tool. We give it away to developers for free. So it is something to help allow developers to get other people excited about space. It's just one of the fun little side projects for tomorrow. And we have librarians that keep that data up to date. So stuff and things if you'd like to help out with that. All right, Capcom, tell us a little bit about what we had going on last week.
Have you introduced
Last
Capcom?
week we
Oh,
had,
I have not introduced Capcom.
The
Sorry,
one.
I'm
This is my
sorry.
beautiful,
The
lovely-
only.
This is my beautiful, lovely, wonderful, and talented wife, Carrie Ann. We haven't. That is a throwback. That's a throwback for a long time. So you're welcome, Internet.
And all sorts of
She also co-creator. She is. There's only one person other than myself that has been here longer, and that is actually, believe it or not, Colton. So I was here the first, Colton was second, and then Carrie Ann was actually third. Starting with show number 2, 11, I suppose it'd be 10 years ago.
Yeah, because you needed me.
I-
So
oh
last
my
week
God,
we
I
talked
did.
about hashtag the Mars. I'm just going to
Still
keep moving
does.
because, seriously. Goodbye to Dawn and Kepler, a video from space, and Soyuz failure investigation, which was a really interesting, that was a really interesting show, I think, all the way around. First comment comes actually off of our community.tmro.tv. You've heard us mention it a couple of times so far, even on just this episode. It's a really great forum space. If you have questions, comments, concerns, complaints that are not addressed during these little sections of the shows, so many complaints, mostly about Ben.
Almost all.
That's the place to really air your dirty laundry, I suppose. And yes, Serial Killer and YouTube is asking, is Colton here today? Colton is always here. Don't even worry about that. So again, first comment comes from community.tmr.tv from Deborinsky.
Borinsky.
Yep.
Deborinsky.
I'm going to make you say
Sounds
all
good.
those now.
Sounds good.
It says, regarding U.S. astronauts utilizing Soyuz after commercial crew comes online, NASA has an agreement with Roscosmos to essentially trade seats. This means that even if U.S. astronauts fly on the Soyuz, the U.S. will not be purchasing those seats, just trading Roscosmos a seat for their use on commercial crew. This does mean a reduction in dollars, I suppose, to Roscosmos, and that reduction could have a negative impact on Soyuz reliability. I was not aware of this personally. Secondly, I don't understand it.
So basically, go ahead.
So that is true, but the way that I kind of look at it is NASA would still be paying for seats because who's buying the seats on the commercial crew? NASA is, and they would be giving one of those seats. I'm sorry, I knocked over your cup again. They'd be giving one of those seats
That's a 12. We
to the
determined
Russians.
earlier. That's a $1,200 cup.
Should I throw mine just to even it out over there?
Please. So yeah, they would be giving one of those seats that NASA is purchasing on commercial crew to the Russians in exchange for a Soyuz seat. So, I mean, we're still paying for it. It's not
Well,
just
wait,
it's
so-
not just an even
No,
trade.
but I don't understand though. So what you're telling me then is that there are NASA astronauts that are going to be flying on Soyuz, but then eventually, like, instead of paying them, then there's going to be Russian astronauts flying on commercial crew?
Yeah, just like Space Shuttle, right? And that's one of the things that we kind of didn't really bring up in the last show, or even really consider, is that, you know, during the Space Shuttle era, it's not like it was all just American astronauts on the Space Shuttle. It was a multinational crew, including Russians. And so we can probably expect the same. Well, we will expect the same thing with commercial crew. We'll be doing seat swapping between all of these different spacecraft. You know.
And the original plan, way back in the day during the Constellation program, is we were going to have the Orion capsule.
Pronounced that wrong.
Constellation program?
Cancellation.
Cancellation program. Oh, excuse me. We were going to have the Orion capsule go and have regular flights to the International Space Station. That was going to be our new crew transportation system before commercial crew. And this deal was made like a long time ago that once Orion got flying, that we would continue to trade seats. And then with the Russians, as soon as they got their next cruise spacecraft, which is now called Federatia, as soon as that was up running, we'd be doing the same thing. So we've just adjusted that plan once commercial crew became a thing to, okay, we'll trade you seats on commercial crew that we'll be paying for.
I guess okay, so I don't understand why, but Zafan off of YouTube says
Zafan.
paying $20 million per seat rather than $80 million.
Yeah, I think fundamentally that's the question: is are we still going to be paying $80 million, or are we going to be paying $20 million? And we're not going to actually buy a seat on a Russian craft, and we're just paying $20 million for commercial crew, and then just swapping around the chairs as to who goes where.
Well, I mean, that is one of the questions, but the other question, quite legitimately, is why? No offense. If Russia's got their own taxi to space, why aren't they just taking that?
They will.
And if America's has their own taxi to space, why aren't they only just taking that?
There's no need to only take, because it's an international cooperation. It's, everyone being happy with everything else.
And then Seki says, so, like, taikonauts are out then? No room for Chinese at NASA.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a thing. That's not really a NASA thing. That's a U.S. government political thing. And that's not untrue. The U.S. politics don't really allow for... Like, China wants to be part of the International Space Station.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Russia wants them to be part of the International Space
Station. The U.S. is like...
ESA does, yeah. It's only the United States. Everyone else wants China to be a partner except for the United States.
Yeah, and you'll notice everyone else is working with China.
Yes, they
are.
are.
The United States is not.
Yes, they are.
But to your point, you have these crews that are going up not based on what country they're from, but based on what that crew needs to do. And maybe a Russian is part of that crew, so you wouldn't send up both a Crew Dragon 2 and then concurrently also a Soyuz, so you could get all those crew members up to the station at the same time. You'd be like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I need the Russian, the American, and the I don't know,
either European,
sure, whatever. Right, to all go up as this one unified crew. We're going to send them on Crew Dragon 2, or we're going to say no, we're going to send all of them up on Soyuz. They're going to go up as a cohesive group on whatever vehicle makes sense, not on whatever vehicle is in their country that they happen to be born in.
Dada says it's an Uber carpool. I mean, sure, I guess so. I guess I just...
They should add, that would be amazing. Add that into Uber, be like, ride share and a rocket, like 20 million.
I mean, you oftentimes have more than one mission crew on the International Space Station at a time.
Yeah, but
there's
two or three overlap. Yeah,
they overlap.
Yeah, so it's like you've got the existing crew, and then you've got the crew that's taking over, and so they're only there at the same time for that window.
Yeah, but sometimes there are crew members. Are there not mission members or crew members that go from one mission to the next mission?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they stay on, so they'll go from expedition like 24 to 25.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But regardless of their nationality, they're going to send them up on whatever vehicle happens to be handy, not on, just because you're Russian, you can only fly Soyuz. So if I need to get my crew up, my expedition, whatever next number is, I'm not going to send half of them on Dragon and half of them on Soyuz because that's their nationality. I'm going to send them all on Dragon or all on Starliner. I don't think they can make it on a Dreamliner. I don't think it has quite the speed necessary.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little higher than most.
A little higher than what a Dreamliner can go.
Yeah.
I'll send them all on Starliner. I'll send them all on Dreamliner. No, Starliner.
So yeah, a crew of three would go up to the space station. There's already a crew of three that's been up there for roughly 3 months. And then they'll be together in the same expedition. That crew of 6, sometimes 5, will be part of that same expedition. Let's say like Expedition 37.
Sure.
And then when the crew that had already been there for 3 months, after they've all been together for 6 months, or once that first crew gets to their mark, whenever they're supposed to go home, when they leave, then the crew that's still up there becomes the next expedition. So it would be Expedition 38.
Okay.
And then the next crew that would come up would be joining their expedition, and it keeps leapfrogging like that. It's confusing.
I don't know where I'm getting
confusing.
lost in this. Let me break it down a little bit further, I suppose. Soyuz has how many seats?
3.
Cool. Crew Dragon has how many seats?
Potentially 7. I guess 4 now.
Yeah, I've heard 4 is what they're going to use as the standard.
Starliner has how many seats?
Supposedly 6, but also maybe 4.
Okay, I'm done. Next comment. I feel like I can't anymore.
Fair enough.
I don't know where I'm getting lost, but
I understand. I'm confused too right
thank
now.
you for hearing me.
Worry.
That's all I want.
With you.
Next comment comes off of YouTube from Barry Hayworth. Regarding the new format of these episodes, I think that it is in need of fighting up. That must be a phrase I'm just not familiar with. The length of episodes in general,
tightening up.
Okay, is heading up, and the amount of information is not increasing to match. I've been enjoying the 1 hour length format, but length is heading up to the signal to noise ratio is dropping.
Yeah. So we're playing with the format, right? We're trying to get it right, and you're not wrong. The noise went up. The noise went up too high. There will be more added noise in this new format because it's going to be we're just going to sit here, we're going to nerd out, we're going to have fun, or geek out, whichever term you prefer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just more of a dynamic conversation, I think. And yeah, not everything's going to be perfectly relevant. We're going to talk a little bit about movies that are hilarious. We're going to laugh, we're going to joke, we're going to have fun with it. And I think that's okay. Like, if you want just a proper news format show, there are many places where you can get that online. You should. You totally should. Like, space news is great. Spacenews.com, spaceflightnow.com is great. NASA Spaceflight is freaking incredible. Like, the wealth of information there is obscene. It's like drinking from a fire hose of space information. No, really, it's just impressive. Just hit their L2 forums. It's great.
Holy moly, yeah, L2 is so awesome.
It's
I love
awesome.
it.
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
So there are all these really great sites that I can get you news faster than we're going to be able to get it to. What we're going to do is we're going to break it into conversation and talk about things and enjoy it and have fun with you and build a community around it, because that's what we want to. That's what we want to be. Is we want to be a community.
Psyche says, "Good luck interacting with those other shows."
Yeah, because they're not in video format.
Well, no, but
there is no other space news show.
But that's the thing. Is we also interact, right? And we talk back and forth. So I do hear you. You're not wrong. The signal to noise did get disproportionately towards noise. We're bringing that. I think this show went better, right? We're not at that weird 2-hour mark, but I think I'm going to target 60 to 90 minutes per show. That feels like a good length. And yeah, we're going to keep playing with it. And as I said, I think in pre-show, and I haven't said it in the actual show itself, guests are not gone forever. We're at the end of the year. It's always exceedingly difficult to get guests at the end of the year because we have this holiday season.
Holidays one after the other.
We're still going to try to bring guests on this year if we can schedule anything in. But in this new format, what I'd like to try to do, and I do not know that this will work. This may epically fail, but I like to use Tori Bruno as an example, because Tori Bruno is just a hardcore space nerd. He has it. It's in his blood. It's part of who he is, right? Yes. He loves this stuff. He loves all of it, whether it's United Launch Alliance or not. He just apparently, I don't want to speak for him, but from an outsider looking in, he appears to love all of it. Wouldn't it be awesome, instead of just bringing Tori on to talk ULA, wouldn't it be awesome to have Tori Bruno sitting here on set just talking about the entire thing, all of the news that we covered? Wouldn't you love his opinion on everything? That's what I think we should do. I'd love to have our guests in to actually talk through the entire news section and talk to them about what they're an expert in whatever they're doing. Yep. And just as if you had them joining you at your house and you all just wanted to space geek out, that's what you would do. That's what this show should be. It's just a bunch of people space geeking out. So that's what I'm trying to get towards. You're seeing these tweaks to the format. Hopefully we're making it better and not making it worse. But I think foundationally, this new format does make a lot of sense. So guests aren't gone. They're coming back. It's going to be awesome. We're going to screw up royally sometime in the future. Like, it's going to be an awkward, horrible show that will come down the pipeline. We'll learn from it and we'll move on. All right, there you go.
Awesome. Last comment comes off of YouTube from one William Warren. Has any significant research been done on the effects of 1/3 normal gravity on the human body over prolonged exposure? If living for an extended period in 1/3 normal gravity causes significant serious damage to the human body, then Mars and the Moon are essentially worthless for human colonization. Before we spend tons of money trying to colonize Mars or the Moon, we should know the answer to this.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
And no, there hasn't been a study.
Nope. No. And we don't know. Fundamentally, we built the centrifuge for the International Space Station, and it's sitting in Japan right now?
In a parking lot.
In a parking lot, yep. And it will never fly.
Near Tsukuba Space Center.
Yep, it will never fly, and that makes me sad. And we absolutely, you're not wrong. We need to run those tests. We need to understand what the long-term, we know what 1G does to the body. We have a few years of study on that. 1 or 2, right? Yeah. We know what microgravity does to the body. We have actually only a few years of study on that, not nearly as much as 1G. But those things in between, no idea. Yep, no idea. And you're absolutely right. We should absolutely study that. And it would be good to do it before we go to the Moon and onto Mars. Although I don't think that we should just stop our lunar ambitions or Martian ambitions because we don't know that answer yet, because I'm not sure we're going to get that answer. And what better place to get the answer than in the actual environment itself.
I'm also pretty sure that initially with at least our lunar ambitions, which seem to be the ones that are going to be happening first, we're not going to be staying really long enough initially to have really negative health, hardcore negative health effects. And also, we could do like what like what was done in the early space programs. You know, can a human actually survive a flight to space? Okay, they can. Can a human survive multiple days in space? Okay. Can a human survive 2 weeks in space? Okay. Can you do 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days, 365 days? You can progressively add on to that. There's nothing that says that the first medical study that we do of a human in lowered gravity has to run for the duration that human will be spending in that lowered gravity. So.
And our latest long duration stay on the surface of the moon was what, a couple of days?
Yeah, 3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we need to study that. And aside from NASA, that's what the rest of the international community wants to do. ESA with their moon village, China with their lunar base that they want to do, and they're cooperating together. I mean, Samantha Cristoforetti is in China right now training to go to the Chinese space station. So we're going to see China and ESA cooperating on a lot of human spaceflight projects. And honestly, if we don't cooperate with China, because they're working very closely with Russia, working on engine technology to actually land on the surface and send humans and large amounts of payload to set up structures and things like that. They're working on that right now, and if we don't participate, we're going to be left behind.
Mm-hmm. I go back and forth on that, but I think that's a conversation for another time, because I don't disagree that leaving countries out seems weird, but at the same time, commercial crews seems to be doing incredible things at a rate that seems to be faster than countries. Mm-hmm. So that is an interesting conversation that we will put a pin into, because this show will go for another hour and a half just on that one topic.
Seriously.
All right, I do want to thank all of the patrons and citizens of tomorrow who helped to make this specific episode happen. These people contribute. The slates that you're going to see here contribute anywhere from $1 to the episode all the way up to $10. And once again, these people help make this show go week after week. We do have, we have the studio space. A space station's expensive, man. Like keeping this thing in orbit, it's really expensive. But we have to pay cameras, we have people that we need to pay, there's bandwidth bills, there's all of the stuff that goes into the show. And we essentially all do this for the love of it. It's not something that we make any money on, really. It's because we think it's important and we absolutely love doing it. And everyone in these lists also obviously loves it as well. So thank you to everyone who helped make this go. Also, if you can't contribute financially, it's totally fine. I understand. Been there, done that. There are other ways that you can contribute. You can contribute just by simply subscribing to our YouTube channel, hitting the bell, telling people about it, and once again, going over to that community forum and being like, hey, love the show. I can help in X, Y, or Z way. And, there are... Whatever you're passionate about, just let us know. I'm sure there's something that we can do. Programmers, animators, people who can make music, people who can writing stories, right? Even just having ideas as to what we can do, all useful stuff. So thank you to everyone who helped makes the show go. All right, that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. After Dark, up next. Kevin can cook. I cannot. So
Come on down, Kevin.
Come on down, Kevin. help cook for us. Something.
Oh man.
That was a fun one. I hope everyone enjoyed that show. Do we feel like the show format is getting better, with the understanding that guests will come in? Like, we'll get guests.
But my opinion on it. I love doing this. Mm-hmm. This is so much fun.
It's easier, right?
It is.
It's a lot easier than before. Less stressful. It's just it's easier to consume.
Yeah.
You? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. My only thing is that, just like what a lot of people have brought up, is that we keep things quick and concise.
Sure.
And I agree that we should have time to sit and discuss things, and like you've always said, the content dictates the time. So if we have a really interesting discussion, then let's not kill that. But
I think people are also used to us not going sideways. Like, we were very focused on making sure we stayed in our lane and didn't want it to go off to the side too much. I like to break that down. I like to break those walls down a little bit. I think it's okay that we talk about movies now. I think it's okay that we go off to the side a little bit. I don't. Certainly, the 2-hour shows need to not be a thing, with rare exception. But we've been whittling it down, right? That first show was really long. The next show was a little bit shorter. This one was a little bit shorter. We'll make the next one probably just a little bit shorter, and I think that will probably be about it.
Jan Dryak on YouTube, I feel much more like part of the discussion in this format.
Jan, that's great. That's exactly what we want. Because you are part of the discussion. You've always been a part of the discussion. And I think that this does a better job of targeting. I also think that...
I'm putting something here.
Oh, right, I can get my water now.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
so we have these tables that Carrie Ann loves. They're called moon tables.
That was just awesome, though.
They're big
You're
and heavy.
Like, whack! I'm so enthusiastic.
They're neat, and they're right behind us. And what I've been doing, because I need to basically turn my body, I've actually been using it as an armrest. It's been really great, but like now I can't. Although I'm
It's
still
just that, you know, as a hologram, I'm just not used to physical objects around me. It's weird. Oh man. But yeah.
Citizen
excited for the guest thing, though.
40979
OTB.
space should include all topics. Yep. I
Crystal
think so.
Ruffalo says the noise to signal ratio. It's funny. I always know it as signal to noise ratio, but noise is where you find some good stuff. You know, I don't disagree, and you know, I think this is what makes it human. And I think what happened was, this is totally my fault. So what happened was, we actually had good growth, and we had a good show, and we had a conversational show, and then we built the set, and I felt like we needed to be more official because we have this big, gorgeous, like, incredible space station set, and I wanted to do right by the amount of work that was done, because there was literally blood, sweat, and tears that went into this thing.
Yep. I had a nail go in my finger.
I sweat over half of these panels.
And it's amazing. And so then
I still have MDF in my lungs.
I tried to shoehorn the
think I
show.
do, too.
Yeah, that's forever. That's never going away. Just so you know, that MDF is for life.
Diamonds and MDF are forever.
MDF for life.
I tried to make the show almost too serious, and I put us kind of in this weird murky middle area. And you know, we got some rundown software, and then we kind of locked into like, this is our show format, and this is our rundown, these are our segments, and all of that was fine, but it stripped the humanity out of the show. And so I've been, for everyone here, I have been griping and complaining about the news format for literally years, and I have been poking at it, trying to fix it like, everyone knows me say this, like, this isn't right, this is what I want, and then I'm, like, moving purely to scripts, that didn't work, taking all the scripts away, that didn't work. This is the thing that I think worked, which was, like, being like, you know what, screw it. We're just going to sit and we're going to talk and we're going to have a good time. And,
Thank you, Stephen Huxtable, off of YouTube. Hi, this seems a good format.
No, there you go. Hi, Stephen Huxtable. Yeah.
Hello.
There you go. I'm still in some of your Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I figured you might. Anyway.
So I'm happy with the feedback. Thank you very much. I do listen to the constructive criticism, and I do agree actually with the commenter that the noise ratio was too high. But I think we did good. I think we did good on this show.
By noise ratio, does you mean like us talking over each other? Or?
No,
I think
just
you
like
literally
sticking to the topic
Yeah.
at hand. Like,
Gotcha.
why the hell did we ever talk about Nicolas Cage and get sidetracked with that, and what the name of that stupid movie was that I've now forgotten,
For the
and
knowing.
or what the Kiefer Sutherland TV show was,
moron!
and
Yes.
or how those two
Stick
were
to
connected.
the topic.
I'm not talking about the other TV show that I thought the Kiefer Sutherland TV show was named, which is also, again, not based off of the Nicolas Cage movie that, again, I've forgotten the name of.
You remembered it
Knowing.
subconsciously. You forgot the Noah.
Apparently. Yeah.
No, that was.
Yeah.
A discussion poll.
Touch is not based off of knowing, which is not numbers.
You can have the
Which is
talking
like-
stick now.
Give that to me.
Yeah, Launchpad. Ooh, yikes.
Would that mean I never get to talk because I can never normally physically grab the talking stick?
Launchpad Astronomy says it's more conversational and less produced, and that's hard for me because, you know, I come from television where everything's tightly produced, and so letting go of that and letting it not be tightly produced is, I think, what will make the show a really great success. We need to let go of our desire to highly produce these shows, and I think that will open it up, make it more conversational, and bring more people into the fold. Or I could be completely wrong.
At the same
Oh,
time,
wait, no, I took my earbud out and I can't hear that.
Ha, you did it too. I don't feel as bad now. I still feel bad though. I'm sorry.
No, I need to
You
undo.
still hear him without your.
That's true, because
I
I have
can't.
really
I
good
can't.
hearing and he can't.
All right, hang on.
My ear was just not
Okay, there you
having
go.
it today.
At the same time, I think we needed to go through the exercise of being overproduced and overdone,
Yeah.
so that everybody on board gets a feel and understanding for what to do and what not to do. And now that we can relax that a bit, I think everybody's a little bit tighter. Everybody knows what they need to do, but still have that lifelike conversation feel.
I don't think we've ever done anything wrong per se. I think that.
Oh yeah.
My Minnesotan came out there. No, I mean, look, it's a learning experience for us and everyone, and we're just trying to talk nerdy to you.
Frida asks, can camera on Dutta when he's talking? Yeah, we're working on that. Stephen Huxtable again says, has everyday astronaut been on the show a number of times, not just as a guest, but also as a contributor.
I'm excited to bring him. Actually, I'm really excited to bring Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, back for the new format because I think he will just absolutely shine in this format.
The only person who can dominate more than Ben Credible is Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut.
Yeah, it'll be
Jared
the two of us
coming at a very cllose second there.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll be the two of us, his shoes and my socks, that do the show, and no one else will say anything else.
Yeah.
Same.
Right.
I'm sorry, Lisa, you're going to cry when you watch this one.
Yeah. I'll hurt your eyes. Ben and Tim will hurt your ears.
I think you should not be in the chat room. I think you should be in the host room only.
Yeah, actually,
because you were like, anything from the chat room? And I was like, no, not really, but thanks for asking.
Oh, well, I didn't. Yeah, I wanted to incorporate. It worked better in segment 2.
I appreciate that. No, I do appreciate that, and that there's nothing wrong with that. And part of that was me because you just rail over absolutely everything, and it never feels like, shut up for a minute. Hey, I had a question about that thing. It never feels like that's an okay thing.
No, it's always an okay thing.
It doesn't. Maybe you're not hearing me. It does not feel like that is an okay thing.
I know. I'm just saying that it's an okay thing. I know the feeling's not there, but I'm giving you
we all know
permission.
that the only one that could actually be okay to get away with that would be Carrie Ann.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's
Dad won't listen to us.
No.
So
Dad doesn't listen to Dad. Technically, also, Dad doesn't listen to Mom either. He lets me talk for a minute and then just says whatever I just said to somebody else as a good suggestion that came from his mouth.
That seems like something I would do.
Heldesk has a suggestion of...
You literally are on camera doing it.
Heldesk has the suggestion of shock collars for Ben.
Yeah,
Stop talking.
No, the internet would enjoy that too much, I think.
Heldesk also says,
ooh, shock Ben.
Well, Heldesk says that everyone should get the remote.
I was just going to say, only if it's community-driven Heldesk.
I also I have a name on YouTube.
Yeah.
It says, Ben is my favorite and least favorite host.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter Quinn suggests Scott Manley. We've had
been
Scott
on the show
Manley
once.
on before, but we've not had him on in this format, so I feel like that is definitely a legit...
That's why I'm excited to bring some people back,
so
right?
glad I grabbed myself a soda.
Yeah, thank you for getting me a soda. Bringing, Scott Manley's going to be great. Tim Dodd, the everyday astronaut, is going to be great. I'm excited for Tori Bruno. I think he's going to be great. Oh, man, Dave Maston. That's going to be another fun one.
It will and it won't be, though.
He'll be like, I can't talk about that.
No, he only really
To
did
everybody.
that.
Well,
we joke about that,
he's
but
just going to sit quietly in a corner for the whole show.
He'll have a beer. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, if we give Dave Maston...
So-
when you give Dave Maston a beer...
Isn't it a children's book?
So we're
It
gonna
is.
we're
It
gonna
is now.
add we're gonna add a big oval table here, right? Then the question is, should we bring on the alcoholic drink of our choice, kind of like Dutta's gone now, but Graham Norton show?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be alcoholic, though. I mean, sometimes
It
people
doesn't have
don't
to be,
want
but, like-
alcohol at 10 o'clock in the morning.
I
Well,
do.
have you seen... Anyways.
I've been drinking
I
since
always
6
want to drink
a.m.
because
It's
of you,
fine.
though.
It's
It's different.
Saturday. 6 a.m. Jesus.
I think that we should definitely
Jesus
have
Christ.
drinks, and we should just never specify whether they're alcoholic or not.
Yeah.
Everyone watching could try to figure it out.
There is an old Space Vidcast thing that Carrie Ann
I can't
did.
believe you're bringing that up again, yeah?
Back at the Crow River Coffee Company. What was it for? It was for an event of sort, or was it just post-show?
It might have just been post-show. I don't recall. I think we were promoting the 24-hour Yuri's night.
Something like that. And she had a shot glass, and she would fill it.
I remember this.
I filled it with water.
She'd fill it with water and take a shot, but she didn't say it was water.
No.
She just filled it with a clear substance and didn't specify what she was.
But you
then-
played into it, though.
and
Like, you
then
take a
she-
shot and look at the camera and be like,
Oh,
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
And by like the 16th, 17th
Yeah, people
shot,
were like,
the chat room is
"Jesus,
like, "Are
is
you
she
okay? Is this
It's
normal?"
not gonna be all right. You're
Well,
driving, Ben, right?
Living with Ben.
You have no idea. That's funny.
Oh, man.
So there was another really good suggestion. Oh, NASA Jim. Yeah, I think we should bring NASA Jim on again. Mr. Dr. Charles, I see no reason.
I would
why
love to
not?
see competitors brought on at the same time.
Mr. Dr. Charles.
I broke it, Donna.
You broke
I
Donna.
wish you could
Wow.
hear it. That is really
Jim.
amazing.
Donna's
Wow.
a pug lock.
He is not okay.
I mean, it's a dark room, and I can tell that he's choking.
Whoa.
Wait, what happened? What did I miss?
Nothing.
dying. You guys might even be able to hear that from our microphones. Jeez.
Right.
I know what we should do.
What specifically broke you? No.
Hold on.
Wiping the tears.
Donna,
You don't get to know about that.
you don't ever do this, so you
Can
have
I-
to tell us.
Can I be on record as saying I told you I was funny? I'm funny. Every last one of you. Just want to be clear.
There's never a
I'm
question
the
in my
funny
mind.
one.
I missed it.
You can hear him from that room, and that's
Oh,
going
man.
to live theater and movie theaters with that right next to
Right.
him.
Oh, man.
The theater goes, and he goes,
Especially if it's not a funny part.
Serial killer from YouTube is saying, is Donna laughing, crying, or coughing? All three.
Yes,
All three. All the above.
All
of
three.
it.
That was
Yeah,
a
we
Dutta
really-
pug lock for
We
sure.
definitely
man.
need a Dutta cam in there. I got
Yeah.
to. So the plan is to take the old news camera, lift it, and rotate it around the side of the room and drop it back in. I just need literally time to make that happen, and possibly more cable.
Sparker from YouTube says, do you consider inviting more regular engineers and scientists from NASA? I think they have a lot to share as well. Yeah, the thing is, it always takes the right person, right? The person who wants to come on and is interested in wanting to talk to us about these sorts of things.
And is allowed to come
Lisa
on.
Taji is like an amazing, perfect, wonderful, glorious example of such a person that we would want to
Mute
have
Mike.
to either have on or have back on.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, I know. Kitty says she's working on it.
I've
And,
got 5 people in my pocket right now that are all like, oh, I just need to figure out a date.
yeah, so it's that type of person for sure. There's a lot of people. I don't want to speak badly about NASA in any way, shape, or form. But there are a lot of people that Ben and I have met through our travels. That lovely people, wonderful people, working on really interesting projects. Not science communicators. They're just not. Not everybody is. And
But I think that's okay in this new format. I think the new format,
it is,
because
but
there are
again,
so
I don't
many
want
people,
anyone to get intimidated by a big person. We are all big personalities.
I'm not.
And you get,
No.
yeah, you're not though. You're
No,
the
I'm
only
not. I'm-
exception.
Yeah, I would buy that. Yeah.
You are. So anyway, but that's my point, is that I don't want anybody to get too scared off by saying, hi, not only are you going to be with us for the whole show, but we're all just going to be talking over each other. And when we interview you, it's going to be 27 against 1. Like, that's a scary prospect.
Yeah, but it's not really an interview. It's more just, again, I'm
You
not going
see
to
what I'm saying, though.
I do, but that's how we present it to the guests. Is we have to come up with a proper way to present it to our guests, and being like, it's not going to be 5 people interviewing you. It's going to be like, we're going to be sitting in a round table just talking about space and then talking about what you're doing. It's just going to be a round table discussion. I think that's the way to do it. Johnny Spacer says, problem for many potential interviewees is that tomorrow's only done on Saturdays. Excuse me. One of the things we want to do, if we can get, get
It's
enough
the soda.
funding, yeah, it is. Get enough funding is not necessarily just do our shows on Saturdays. They need to be consistent so you guys know when to show up. But yeah, I think, but for that, we need people that work on the show more than just in their spare time. And when you're working in the aerospace industry, especially in new space, all of these new space companies absorb your life. And just the fact that we can do the show at all
Yeah.
is like,
It doesn't even matter if it's Saturday or not.
yeah.
Ozmoz one off of YouTube says, I want some Virgin Space people. Yeah, like,
Wait, like people who aren't used to space, or people from Virgin Group?
I was reading it as people from Virgin Group.
Yeah, I was too, but
Yeah.
Because I think
The other one could
Pomerantz
be
in this
we need to
particular
reboot the hologram.
I know.
Pomerantz in this particular setting would be phenomenal.
Amazing, yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like if you want to talk about somebody who knows the space industry.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I know that we're throwing in a lot of names of people who have already been on the show, but bringing them back in this kind of format, I think, would be really fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
And Pomerantz has his own white chair.
Oh my God, he could bring his chair.
I don't think he still has it, honestly,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Yeah.
Smokey Dirk, Virgin Space people who are from space and virgins. Yep.
I mean, I guess that could be, that could be a thing. Stephen Huxtable asked if this was a green screen planet behind us. It is not.
John Burr, I have a friend on the team for one of those orbiting telescope things. Cool. Hubble? Should I ask him if you want to be on the show? Yeah, absolutely. Ask all of the people.
Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah. My
Crash.
He's still on, but everything just went blank on me. I'm back.
Boom goes the chat room.
Yeah, that was really crazy.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah, get us your friend who does the orbital telescope thingy.
So Kevin F. has a suggestion. You could change orbit.44 to orbit point 44, like Star Trek Stardate. I think that would be cool. Do they really do point?
Yeah.
Stardate 147.2. Yeah, it is point 2. Yeah, point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could change to point 44. Orbit 11.44.
Yeah, if you want. I don't care.
Dada's saying no, but what Dada doesn't know is I secretly had him design a Star Trek ship, not a Star Wars ship.
Obviously not Star
clearly
Opera ship. Duh.
Obviously not Star Opera ship.
You didn't give me the budget for the good one.
That's because you had a budget of 0 for the good one. Well, the good one would be like Firefly. Right? Yeah.
I think you two just became best friends.
Okay, so at work for Halloween, because Halloween in the United States was Wednesday, October 31st. For those of you who don't celebrate Halloween or maybe celebrate Halloween on a different day, which I found out that not the whole world celebrates Halloween. My bad. Anyway, my point is that at work, some people were dressing up as a whole slew of different things.
By the way, everyone's chat is actually dead. You're not updating.
Copy. It was really fascinating. But I was talking with Ben at lunch that day, and I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. We saw there was somebody as Beaker from the Muppets, and it was really, really incredible. And there was one guy who built his own Ghostbusters
Proton pack.
Proton pack. It didn't just light up. It had the different lights in the different sequences. So if you did different things with it, it would light up different ways. It made the proton pack, the noise, the thing,
And it captured ghosts.
It was amazing.
He had the trap too?
No,
it didn't have the trap. So you could capture the ghost, but then you had to let it go.
Ben is just making things up. Don't worry about him. Anyway, but there was, and so those were really incredible. But there were a couple of extra things that were that made me laugh. This one guy dressed up as the Pope, and Ben's like the Pope, and I said, yeah, the Pope, and he's like from Firefly. I was like, no, like the Pope. What is wrong with you?
Well, I mean, come on, that's fair.
Old dude, Rome, Catholics, all that shenanigans, the Pope. The Pope. Yeah, it was such an obscure reference. But later on that day, I saw somebody dressed up as Mal,
Malcolm Reynolds.
And I was like, hey, you'll get this. And so I told him about the exchange, and he just sort of laughed and walked away. And I was like, I don't know if I made a connection with that kid or not.
Wait. Heldusk is saying we had a net split. There's no way. This shenanigans on that. Unless maybe the Twitch room did a net split, but we're not. I don't buy that for a moment. Not in the Tomorrow room. Like we're not that. How do I word that? So basically, back in the day when we did shuttle stuff, our rooms would get so large, the IRC rooms would get so large that they couldn't have more people, and the rooms would split into 2, and then they would actually split again. You just have this storm of people coming in. But and while I that would be an awesome problem to have, I don't think we're even close to the numbers necessary for that. What?
What?
It is. It was that on our.
Huh.
Huh. All right, he's saying not overflow rooms are not the same as net splits. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I remember those days. Those were crazy days. JK3 Farden from Twitch. Can you hear me? Sure can.
Yep.
Just saying. I can see people. I feel like most of you are not old enough to remember this, and it was also a relatively regional thing, but there used to be a show a million years ago called Romper Room. And the host...
I don't know what that is. I know what rompers are, and I'm kind of worried.
Yeah,
heard
I know.
of it.
So.
You're too young.
But
I know. But the host would hold up what she would say was like her magic mirror, or the mirror, but it would actually have like, instead of a mirror, it was just an oval cutout, and she would sit there and she'd be like, and I can see Sarah and Jared.
Oh,
and
so weird.
Like that kind of thing to the camera.
said-
So like
she
that's
said my
what it
name.
kind of reminds me of, because I'm like, I can see YouTube and Twitch
and like
and
moms
IRC.
could write in, right? And
Yeah.
say, hey, could you say my kid's name?
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which was particularly like.
I can see Sarah.
But
Yes.
I was super jealous as a
And
kid because my
mine.
name was like so unusual. Clearly, my name would never be read in
Right.
any way, shape, or form.
Unless somebody else.
Right.
So what I described were overflow rooms. What a net split is, and do correct me if I'm wrong, that's basically when you've got multiple servers connected together, and like one of them splits off and like gets disrupted. And it sounds like that's what happened here, in that the beta server busted away from the main server.
Yeah.
I'm getting...
That's what I'm saying. Romper Room is really, really old, so don't worry if you don't remember it. Thank you to Dada for the Wikipedia page on that.
Let's see, am I back here yet? Not yet.
It's
Where
Russell
am I?
Crowe on the
Am I?
show. I'm
yeah,
not sure.
Yeah, I'm back. So, I have questions for you.
Me?
What is the ultimate answer to the life, universe, and everything?
42.
Right, that's
the
the
mice.
right answer.
Ask
That's
the
the
mice.
right answer.
Yeah.
So, I saw on your Facebook you have like a demo reel for acting.
I do.
So you do acting
I
as
do.
well?
I do.
And one of them in particular was you in like a space capsule on like an interstellar journey, and you're like talking about what it felt like. I'm just like, what is this? I want to see the whole thing.
That is from my short that I'm still editing. It's called Alone, and it's about 7 minutes long.
Do we get to premiere it on the show?
If you would like, then I would love that.
I would
because-
like to do that. That would be
Oh my
amazing.
That would
Yes.
be
Oh my
great.
gosh, that's so exciting.
Actually, I'd like to premiere it on the show, and then I'd like to run it again with you, with its audio off, and you talking over it and telling us all the backstory.
Oh, the director's cut?
Yeah,
Right?
Director's commentary.
That
That
would
would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Oh man, so yeah, I'm editing it right now. It's a final mission report from our first crewed mission beyond the solar system.
Ooh.
Yeah, they were sent toward Proxima Centauri B.
That's so
Did
cool.
it end well?
I hope not.
You'll have to watch.
It's called Alone, so
How far in?
If it ends well, there's no drama.
I mean, if you're in editing, you've completed shooting.
I shot it. It's
all pre-pros done.
yeah.
That didn't sound convincing.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm just working on the. Okay,
was it like a lot of like heavy green screen, or did you have physical
Astro
sets?
I
YYZ
have
says
physical
no
set.
spoilers.
no spoilers. Cool. I wouldn't
Wow.
want to.
I'm busted. I can't update.
If you go to her Facebook page, you can see her demo reel,
Oh.
and there's like a snippet of it in there. And
So-
that set was freaking awesome.
That's actually
I
the.
thought it was
okay.
green screen.
Oh, I can say this without doing spoilers. So that set so I used to work at a company called Global Effects. They make the best space costumes, space suit costumes on the market. They use like the same cover material as NASA does. So that Aces that I was wearing was a Nomex Aces.
wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Right? With proper fittings that work. The glove that I have on,
No way.
it's got the tombstone lock, everything. It is legit.
Do you have a promo or somewhere that we can air like now?
I have, it's in my reel that is on my website, sarah42.com.
All right. You want me to pull it down? Does the internet want me to pull this down and then drop it into Casper so that we can see this? Does anyone else care? I can put it in. We can put it into After Dark if you guys want. I'm waiting for the chat room. So keep telling your story and I'll read what the chat room
Okay,
says.
so the spacesuit that I was wearing was actually made for the Corps. Right? So when I went, okay, so that was Hillary Swank's spacesuit. That was her aces
Oh
for when
my
they
gosh.
crash landed and landed the Endeavour in the LA River.
Oh my god. That's insane.
And the capsule itself was a modified LEM that was built for Apollo 18.
Oh, that
With
awful
the
horror
space
movie.
spiders.
Oh.
Yes. So it looks a lot like a lunar module, but it's got some tweaks to it, and that was made for
the one
that.
thing that I'll give Apollo 18, even though that was a really silly, kind of Blair Witch Project type of horror
Right?
movie, is I loved how they incorporated the whole Roscosmos conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
That they actually beat us to the surface of the moon, but they had a problem with their lander, couldn't get back, and their
Yeah.
cosmonaut died on the surface and covered it all up.
It was pretty, or he died on the surface, but was it because the craft didn't work, or was it because space spiders?
Oh,
With their,
are
like,
they the ones who
quantum
chewed
burrowing?
through the
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, they're like weird phasing thing that they did. It's like, oh, we're on the outside of your helmet, now we're on the inside. What? Sorry, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, it's like 6 years old, so whatever. But,
Yeah.
but it's actually kind of cute. Like Europa Report. That's a cute movie. Totally plug in random sci-fi.
Yeah.
But
It's always interesting to me to see a lot of these modern movies, like how they treat the technology and how they treat their sets and their habitats,
Yeah.
and whether or not they're do the whole okay, we're going to have artificial gravity so that we can actually film this and not spend
Right.
a bunch on
Yeah.
or if they try to do the whole microgravity thing.
yeah, like The Martian went both ways. In space, we're going to have 0G, but when we're on Mars, it's 1G.
And I liked how there was, oh gosh, what was the scene in the movie? What was he even picking up? But he was picking up something and it's just like, yeah, I'm Superman on Mars. I wouldn't be able to lift this on Earth.
I don't know if that
Or am
made
I
it in the movie.
confusing
That was
that
in the
with
book. I think it was in the
you're
book.
right, you're right.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there were like
that's in the book.
when he's like popping the nose cone off of the the map, he's like, you shouldn't be having that much trouble with it. It's 500 kilograms on Earth. Like that. Like it's 500 kilograms. So you're in Martian gravity. So it's
Yeah, you should be able to
like
handle
120 pounds,
Tops.
right?
Yeah.
So like Matt Damon could have knocked it
Wow.
off. Matt Damon! Oh man.
Wow. But yeah, that's super cool though.
Yeah, it was really fun to shoot. It was so I'm a filmmaker, and so I have an accountability buddy, a writing buddy that we make sure we keep ourselves on track
Accountability.
doing like art, because we have so many other jobs where we're all running around, and like a couple friends and we sat down and we just counted our jobs, and it was 3 of us, and between the 3 of us we had 15 jobs.
Boy.
Yeah, and those were just the ones that paid. We weren't counting acting, writing,
Right,
directing.
right.
No, it was.
Yeah,
it was
just the paying jobs.
Just the paying jobs, and so that means every week we're running from various places and picking up where we can, and so. Yeah, if I'm occasionally frazzled here, that's because I was working probably till like 10 o'clock last night and doing what I can, trying to get the news done at some point between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. when I have to
man.
head out.
Yeah.
So
See, I would love for the crew of tomorrow to do extra sort of shorts or skits like
Yeah.
that aren't necessarily news related. They might not even be
Darius is like,
serious.
nope,
I would love
nope,
to do
nope.
funny ones and even serious ones. I would
totally
love
on board.
that.
One of the comments that I marked but has gone way beyond was somebody was totally on board for doing a projection on the wall and having the seats turned around and just doing a Mystery Science 1000. It's
Oh,
Mystery
that
Science
would
Theater.
be so cool. Yeah,
Right?
tomorrow's Science Theater.
That would be
be
pretty
so
fun.
cool.
God.
Right?
That
And
would be awesome.
So somebody
Flip
had
the
that
seats
on
around,
the
have a
chat.
projector right here, and this is the set of the tomorrow's Science Theater.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Wouldn't that be cool?
that's not a bad idea.
And we can watch all those horrible sci-fi movies
Yeah.
you guys love so much.
So
Not
if that was your
horrible.
idea, I repost it because I missed it before. But so that was
All
somebody's
right,
idea.
I think I pulled your reel. So like it
Oh my.
was the real reel, right?
Yeah.
Like
The
your
real-
upper
the
grip.
really real?
So Donna, do you have? Did it show up? All right. We haven't tested this in
real.
Casper, so there's a possibility it's all screwed up. Let's
Okay.
Let's find out.
There's some non-space stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yep, that's me. That's my headshot, yo.
Oh, here we are.
First step beyond the solar system, and it has been a success. We were never going home. Even if we had made the trip back to Earth, after 400 years, it wouldn't have been home. This is our place. And it was our privilege to have made this journey. 80 miles of air is enough to scatter the blue light just a little bit, just enough to give the sky a bit of a bluish tint. But if you look at sunsets and sunrises, that amount of gas is enough to scatter that blue light out almost completely. So that what you get is a red, vibrant sunset or a bright pink sunrise.
Are you fucking kidding me?
God, that was so good.
Frank?
Oh, not as good as that.
Attack of the Sarah. Oh man. But yeah, that set though, and like how it was, like, were you guys like doing like a re-entry or something at that moment? Is that why like the camera was moving and it seemed like
the camera's in zero microgravity?
Exactly.
Oh, it's just you set it down and it was floating.
Okay.
And that's why I want to see the whole thing because yeah.
Yay!
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm excited. I've been working on it for quite a while now, and I need to get it finished. Oh, thanks, Jorg Walasek. I hope I pronounced your last name even remotely close.
How close are you? Like, how much further?
So because I'm super anal space nerd, all of the filters in Premiere and Final Cut for signal loss, they're all analog signal. So I'm trying to build digital signal loss, which is, packet one becomes stale data, gets overwritten by a secondary packet. So I want it to visually feel like you've just lost your signal on your satellite feed, and we all know what that looks like, but none of the filters do that easily. So I've been working on trying to build one that works to my satisfaction.
Makes sense.
Build the processes, I should say.
Also check out if you haven't DaVinci Resolve, because that...
I know it's color, but I have not.
No, it's all of the things.
See, this is okay. I don't even have.
Here's
DaVinci
why it's
Resolve.
awesome. DaVinci Resolve is all of the things.
Okay.
So it does all the color that you would normally see in a movie.
Right.
It also does all of the editing. So we've actually moved away from Premiere entirely here.
Wow.
We're only using Resolve. It's way the hell faster than Premiere. 'Cause Premiere is a pile of steaming poo. That engine behind it is awful.
Dude, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It's awful.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
No, it's terrible.
Okay, because I've shot this. Okay, I shot this on my iPhone in 4K, and because it's low light conditions, it was doing a variable frame rate, and Premiere choked on it, and I put it into Final Cut, and it ran just fine. And looked at all the forums, and it was like, oh yeah, Adobe said you shouldn't be shooting anything that does variable frame rate, so the problem is yours. It's like,
cool. Throw it in Resolve, see what it does.
Nice. Will do.
And you'll be able to color grade it like a real movie, because that's how they color grade real movies. And they also baked in Fairlight audio, so you can actually do full-on actual sound production. By the way, for free. All of this is free.
Yeah, somebody told me that. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And they baked in the nodal compositor, which is their nodal compositor. Crap, I forgot what the name of it is. Anyhow, that's all built in. So you've got this insane, crazy effects engine, this insanely crazy audio engine, and then all of this other stuff, and it's completely free. Or for $300 you get the pro version, and it unlocks a whole other slew of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a one-time thing, not a monthly thing like Premiere.
Yep. Cool.
Not noodle compositor, nodal.
Like Kung Fu Panda. All the noodles.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna play with
Bye,
that now.
Astro YYZ.
Bye.
There was something else that I wanted to share, and I just want to find out whether or not I can share it with everyone so that you all can see it, or if I just want to share it with just you guys. We have a rough draft for the project that I've been working on, Borderless Labs, to possibly build a CubeSat and open up makerspaces, and the whole reason why I was in Jordan last month.
So why were you in Jordan?
So the whole purpose of our thing is we're trying to create online educational video content in multiple languages so that students, especially underserved students all around the world, can learn in their native language and excel, right in their own communities. And open up maker spaces that would give them all of the tools so that they can have, tackle real life challenges and tackle real life challenges. And then also to one of our first projects is to build, test, and design a CubeSat.
Sure.
And we want to do quite a few interesting things with this particular CubeSat. Do you guys remember the NASA asteroid redirect mission, especially the spacecraft that had the bag capture system? That was called Shepard, and that was from Dr. Bruce Damer. And I actually have the rough draft of the video that I can share with you guys.
You have to drop it on a drive.
Okay, I'll drop it on the
And
drive.
then add it into the rundown. So my question, and what I've always wondered on this is, don't you run into ITAR ear constraints here? I mean, probably less ITAR because of the prop, but definitely ear.
And that, with a lot of that stuff, as far as my research has gone, a lot of the off-the-shelf parts, especially from vendors in Europe, we would be able to send it to the first lab that we want to build, which would be in the country of Jordan. Not just in Jordan, but in one of the Syrian refugee camps.
Well, it's not just sending, it's the information exchange, right? It's that information exchange is what, fundamentally, is what's not legal. So how do you get around that?
Well, as far as I could tell from the vendors, especially in Europe, that wouldn't have been an issue, because we're not necessarily...
That's irrelevant, you're a U.S. citizen.
So just because I'm a U.S. citizen...
Yep, you cannot do the information exchange.
Okay. This is more information that I need to look up for it, because there's still... Everyone that I've asked, I've gotten...
I would just
conflicting information.
Just be careful. Well, part of the problem is that ITAR changed. So for those who don't know, there used to just be ITAR, right? Which is the International Trade and Arms Regulation, Trade and Arms Regulations. Blah. And that basically, anything in aerospace got lobbed into ITAR, which was terrible because, like, every component on this rocket, including like a video camera, was locked under ITAR, and I couldn't talk to anyone about the video camera. Even if the video camera is made by like Sony. Sony makes a video camera. I can't talk to them about it at all. I can't request anything. I can't do anything. It's locked under ITAR. All I can do is basically buy it. And it was stupid. I'm oversimplifying, but that was it. So then they actually moved a lot of stuff out of ITAR. So ITAR is locked into like mostly just the things that you would expect to be in there, like propulsion, turbo pumps. I don't remember all the things that are lobbed into ITAR, but it's just those things. And then the rest of it got thrown in something called EAR, which is export. What is EAR stand for?
Yeah, I forget. I'm looking it up right
just
now.
do ITAR EAR.
Export and raisins.
Export and raisins. That's what it stands for.
That's what it was. Very clearly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's export something regulations.
Yeah. It's a much lesser, easier thing. Yeah. What is EAR?
Export Administration Regulations.
Okay, right. So that is actually just more of an oversight, less aerospace-y thing. And while it sounds like it's awesome that things moved out of ITAR into EAR, it does make it easier to do things with other countries, except that now you have to understand, like, the complexity of all of it just skyrocketed 9,000%, because you have to understand, like, what touches what aspect of where, and who you can talk to and about what, and what you can actually send where as well. And both of these things are not just physical hardware, like being able to send things in and out of country, but more importantly, information exchange. So it extremely limits what U.S. citizens are allowed to do. And I can't just go to France, for example, and then say, oh, I'm no longer in the U.S., blah, blah, blah. As a U.S.
From
citizen,
my understanding, they could not touch the boards that we were going to be using that would have any of our avionics or any of that type of programming installed.
Nor can you
on it.
tell them about it or show them anything about it at all. You basically can't talk to them at all about those things. Yeah, that's where things get really tricky. Because it's not just the hardware, it's the actual information exchange that the U.S. Department of Defense really doesn't want to have happen. Because you look at people who you probably don't want to have this technology, right? It's not just the ability to buy it, but it's the ability to make it. And that's the fundamental thing. Anyhow, I was just curious. I would probably recommend talking to a lawyer on that one, because there are there's there is no, oh, sorry, oops, I didn't know on these. That's just an
Right.
immediate, you go to jail, you're fined $100 million, you're never coming out kind of thing. Yeah. They don't, and they execute on this stuff. So just be careful is my only. So anyhow.
But kind of the idea, though, is that, and then there it is uploaded to the drive now. You might see it in the 1144 folder under Borderless Labs Rough Cuts.
Yeah, did you add it to the rundown if you...
link it in the rundown?
Yeah, then it will show up to Rundown Creator.
I'll go to After Dark here. Yeah, Seki says, the mower man followed me from AZ.
How's your chat room?
Mine's working.
Mine's working.
Cool.
And that is added to the rundown. So yeah, I mean, going over there was a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, not only did we get to see so many amazing things, but the people that we met, especially the kids that were in the refugee camps there. I was so impressed with how smart and ingenious these kids were. And everyone had cell phones, and like there was a couple of them that I was having, conversations about space and rockets with that I was just like, how do you know this? And they're like, from the Google.
From the Google!
Google gave it to us.
Oh man, I could not believe it. And yeah, the idea with the makerspaces is getting 3D printers, giving telescopes, microscopes, fully equipped labs, and just the space part of it is just one aspect. That's just the part that I'm kind of focusing in on. But there's so much that we want to do with it.
They have the world's largest microscope.
Scope.
Microscope. Scope. Is in Big Dirty Church.
If things go,
We guys do it on this hill floor. Look at a bunch of rocks and gas out there. It's a bunch of holes cut in a big sheet. How do you explain that?
Hey,
Gotcha. Hey, cool guy.
So yeah,
I have a very serious question.
She is extremely passionate about science and space. She wants to be an astronaut and astronomer.
I want to be an astronaut and astronomer too.
We met in a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan at the Relief International Center. And on our recent trip across 4 different continents, we had the opportunity to meet more inspiring kids just like her. But to explain, I need to start at the beginning. Hi, I'm Nadia. I'm a scientist, traveler, and filmmaker. And this is Space Mike.
Hi, I'm Space Mike, a science and space journalist. And together we are Borderless Labs.
Our mission is to create online educational video content and maker facilities to give underserved students like Badr the tools and skills they need to create sustainable progress for themselves and the world around them.
As one of the kids we met described it so accurately, we're living in a Mad Max present, but we aspire to a Star Trek future.
So we traveled to the Azraq and Zaatari Syrian refugee camps and the Suf Palestinian refugee camp in Jordan to hopefully make this dream a reality for these kids. Their love for STEM, or STEAM, is not only a passion, but an escape from their current harsh reality. STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, Math.
We believe students can use science to understand the world around them. Math, to measure the world around them.
Engineering, to improve the world around them.
Art, to express themselves in the world.
And technology, to do all that and more at the same time.
This is why everyone deserves to have opportunities in STEAM.
We are creating online educational content in multiple languages so students can learn in their native language and excel where it matters most, right in their own communities. By creating labs without borders, we can connect and collaborate from multiple continents and in space, and tackle the questions and challenges that will advance humanity forward.
For one of our first projects, we developed a program to design, build, test, and launch a CubeSat that'll be a first-of-its-kind contribution to science and humanity. These tiny spacecraft can be used for hundreds of purposes, such as holding solar panels, batteries, and cameras. And we want to demonstrate the possibility of harnessing resources in space.
But this isn't going to be done by the space agencies of the world, but by kids, students, refugees. The skills needed for this operation are going to help these students provide for their families, their communities, and their futures.
The first CubeSat project has been fully funded, but in order to complete our mission and provide knowledge and scientific opportunities to more students in underserved communities around the world, we need your help.
You can help make a difference in these students' lives.
The pyramids weren't built in a day, and in order to make this project happen, we need your help.
For just $1 a month, you can give these students the opportunities in STEAM.
We're going to build the first lab in Jordan and the United States, with hopefully many more to follow. We are Borderless Labs, and together we can
go make something! Be the change by becoming an everyday philanthropist.
So yeah, that's our the rough edit so far. There's still a couple of changes we're going to make, but yeah, that's Borderless Labs. That's what this project is all about.
John
And
Spacer wants to know how you got involved.
So this project was actually started by one of our community members, by Mac Malkawi. He is Mac in the chat room, and he actually invited me out back in May to go see the Antares rocket launch. That which one was that? Was that 08? Yeah, it was 089. And just as like, hey, you're one of my favorite rocket people that talk about rockets and spaceflight on YouTube. Like, I would love to share this experience with you. And I'm just like, of course, like I would love to do that. So we went out there and kind of pitched the whole idea to me then. And I've brought it up a couple of times with you guys, and wasn't sure exactly how much stuff that I could fully talk about. But one of the big things that I did want to kind of pitch again today is that this could be, at least our initial project, could be the CubeSat of tomorrow.
So for me, the legal side would have to be taken care of because it literally could be everyone going to prison. So once that's taken care of, I'm okay with that. But like, it sounds like you guys have a lot of work on that front to make sure all of that goes.
Yeah,
because I do look at that and I go, it's definitely
lots of legal issues. That
Yeah. But and that's actually one of the reasons. So I've wanted to as you may know, I've wanted to crowdfund a space program for a long time. I think. People get excited not just about talking about it, but doing it, right? And so I think there will be a time, not just yet, but I think there will be a time when an entire space program can be crowdfunded. What I cannot get my head around, and I have tried, is actually ITAR. And so that remains my
And so from the stuff that just from the research that we've put in so far, we fully understand that there are lots of technologies, even off-the-shelf technologies, that we could not export over there. And all of the work on those type of things and the final integration would all be done here in the United States. But learning how to use 3D printers, printing out models, having a test article that isn't even the full of hardware,
no, but it's
and
the
doing all
information.
that type of testing there. Yeah.
No, it's that information exchange that's the problem. And so at least for my vision of a space program, it would obviously tons of information exchange because that's the whole point, right? You want everyone to get excited and understand this stuff and all that fun jazz, and that's precisely what ITAR prevents. So that's I do think it's exciting, and I'm certainly not saying no. I'm saying once lawyers say this is okay and that the information being exchanged is acceptable, I would be on board with that. But prior to an actual ITAR ear lawyer saying something like that, I have to, as a LLC entity, have a barrier there, because otherwise I could be liable as well, and then I would go to prison, as would everyone else in this room, and that would be bad.
Yeah. In any case, though, regardless of whether or not we build the CubeSat, because again, that's just one of our projects, and that's something that we very much want to do. There are so many other projects that we want to do. I mean, just in that video, something that really impressed me was there was this group of girls that just with mesh, plastic cups, cotton swabs, they were able to successfully create a makeshift water filtration system.
Oh, that's really cool.
And they had this really dirty, muddy water that had like cigarette butts floating in it and everything. And by the end of it, I don't know if it was drinkable, but it was clear.
You didn't try it?
No, I didn't try it. Well, you're not supposed to drink the tap water there at all. But I was so impressed and how quickly they did it, and trial and error, and they wouldn't give up on any particular design that they figured out just as a small group. And so I'm just like, given the tools, what can these kids create?
Oh, yeah.
You know, what can they do for that's especially important for them right there in their own communities?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Zaatari refugee camp has one of the largest solar farms in the world, and so they're able to have electricity access there, but they need clean water. They need to be able to, they're importing pretty much all of their drinking water in the country of Jordan right now. And so, you know, they need processes, you know, some of which that we already exist, and to be able to upgrade the infrastructure that they have in the country. And so that's a big local problem that they have right there, that given the tools, what could some of these ingenious kids come up with?
Yeah, I'd say I agree with Siri. I have no idea how to say that. I'm sorry. Iriot?
Yeah, I think maybe.
I'm sorry. Our chat. Apparently, our chat integration is dead, so that doesn't work. Saying it's a great outreach for a great purpose. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree.
Yeah, and it falls right in line with the sticker you have on your laptop.
Space,
which
is for everybody. And space not only brings out the best in people, it brings people together. Doesn't matter where you're from, what your race, religion, or any of that is. Space brings people together. And the fact that we are the fact that we built the International Space Station with the Russians, the Europeans, and the Japanese, and so many other partners, that blows my mind on a continual basis. Especially us and the Russians trying to, you know, all the BS and trying to kill each other over all this time, that we were able to do this project, and that's why I am so drawn to space flight. Yes, I'm drawn to a lot of the nerdy technical details about rockets and spacecraft. You know, that's my being a car guy, I guess. But that's cars for me. That's cars for me. I don't care about cars. I don't care about cars, though. You know, people point out different cars, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. The only car that I get excited about is Teslas. But rockets, yeah, that's my thing, and I can tell you all sorts of nuts and bolts. You know, but the human aspect of it, just seeing how people are able to collaborate and cooperate from all over the world to make things happen that we're reporting on week after week, is just, you know, that blows my mind. And so I want to share that.
Yeah.
I want to share that with as many people as I can and help people get technologies that aren't necessarily restricted under ITAR, that don't fall under aerospace, to give a lot of these kids access to those tools. And that's just where we would start.
Yeah, you remove the aerospace part of it, yeah, that becomes really easy then, right? Because ITAR doesn't apply anymore, and you're good to go. There are a lot of questions actually on ITAR.
Like, not to say that we want to give up on that. I mean, we would. I personally would try as hard as I can.
So here's the fundamental thing that everyone needs to understand. So VTO 80 says, wait, a lot of this information available on the internet. Why would we might be risking jail? What everyone needs to understand is ITAR is antiquated and out of date and never actually served the purpose in which it was intended. And I think the politicians understand that, and they've been working on changing and fixing it. So it's constantly undergoing updates and fixes. That doesn't mean that, and then as someone else said, Jazz throughout, because ITAR is idiotic, that's why. And I fundamentally agree with that. ITAR is idiotic.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong, right? You can find this information. That's always been my gripe against ITAR. You can find the information on YouTube. You can find it on the internet. But I still can't talk about it. And just because it's stupid doesn't mean that it's legal. But it is changing. So, you know, if you start the process, maybe by the time ITAR changes, everything will be good. Maybe it's already changed enough where you're okay. I actually don't know. That's where Space Lawyer would be, or ITAR, your lawyer, would be handy. But yeah, so fundamentally, I think it's actually good and inspirational idea. I just, you know, I have to worry about the legal side of it because I live in that world, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Even without those legal challenges, though, I mean, it would still be, you know, a couple of years before that CubeSat would be ready to fly. I would think, anyway. Regardless, though, if you guys believe in this project, and, I mean, first off, the support that you guys give tomorrow just blows my mind. All of you that are contributing to our Patreon and making this happen, allowing us to be able to have an amazing space like this, it just, I mean... You guys do a better job at thanking the patrons than I do, because I get emotional every time. But it seriously is, what you guys do for the Tomorrow Show just really touches me. And if any of you guys believe in this project, even just for the outreach, all we're asking for is just $1. For our Patreon, we only have 2 levels for it, $1 and I think $5 level. We're not asking for huge donations or anything. We just want to get people excited about space and science, about STEAM, and share all of that. I didn't even talk about some of the engineering ideas and some of the science experiments and art competitions that we want to to do. We want to do this across the board, all the aspects of STEAM. So, yeah, I think it's I think it's a worthy cause, and if we're successful in this, we don't just want to end there. We want to start opening up places like this that could be a community across the world. I mean, we're already in talks with people in other countries. I don't know. I'll stop there. I'll stop there.
I did like the idea. That's one of the things that I've always been sad about on Tomorrow is multilingual. Right? Because, we say that Tomorrow is a show for in fact, even on our strategy sheet that we have is that Tomorrow is worldwide. But that is an untrue statement today because Tomorrow is only English. And, that if people can't understand what you're saying, literally can't understand you, then they can't get engaged by you and they can't be inspired by you. And so I think that's actually a very interesting and compelling part of that is the ability to be multilingual.
Yeah. And something that was really cool for me when we were visiting there is another viewer of the Tomorrow Show who lives in Jordan. His name is Ja'afar, not Jafar, Ja'afar. He is a fan of the show, and, I announced that I was in Jordan. And he's just like, holy crap, like, are you in the capital, Amman? And I was. And so we were trying to coordinate back and forth, and it wasn't until the day that I actually left that we got to meet up. And such a cool guy, such a cool guy. Oh, and by the way, everyone in Jordan spoke English, so I had no problem communicating with anyone. And me and Ja'afar were talking hardcore nerdity about all things rockets, and it was just like, dude, we need someone to do the kind of the space aspect things of our educational content. Like, how would you feel about doing your own attempt at like a monthly launch report or a launch minute in Arabic? And he was all on board for the idea. So, that's just one example of talent that we are already starting to bring in to produce content in Arabic. Start with that because that's where our first lab that we want to open up is. And, have more content in English, have content in Swahili and Japanese and in whatever, wherever we are able to open up a lab. And to do cool things. I mean, just on a science aspect of things, Discovery Channel and things like that are popular over there, but it's all in subtitles. Sure. The only content, especially on YouTube, that you're seeing coming out of that whole region is either prank videos or pseudoscience videos.
That's not
and
good.
There's a hunger for it. Just the kids that we talk to are just like, yeah, I wish that we had our own SciShow. I wish that we had our own Discovery Channel, but that was in Arabic. So just imagine, a girl who's passionate about biology, coming and swimming with the sharks, or petting a tiger at a petting zoo, telling you about the biology of this tiger while she's wearing a hijab and speaking in Arabic and communicating that to her peers. I mean, I think that it's just a really beautiful idea, and start with the Arabic world, and hopefully it'll be worldwide, truly borderless.
Cool.
And yeah, there's lots of legal issues that have to.
But you can overcome those with a simple lawyer, right? These are easily solved problems, right? Just get the right person on it. Make sure that they go, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. Boom, there you go. It might mean that you need to tweak your format a little bit. I'm not sure. CubeSats generally don't have prop on them, but avionics are still going to be an issue.
Definitely.
You're right. So, but in the information exchange, blah blah blah. But you can still, like you talked about the water side of things, right? There's still that side of things. You can remove some of the aerospace stuff, get the ITAR ear stuff worked out. Boom, boom, problem solved. Because fundamentally, your vision is bigger than just the CubeSats. It's all of that. That's just the one little itty bitty thing.
Yeah, that's me and Mac inserting our love for space into this idea. And and that's kind of a way too to kind of get that international collaboration. Just what I was talking about, how space brings people together. So yeah, but with everything that we want to do.
Well, on that note,
there's so much. So thank you for allowing me to share that.
Of course, it's good video.
Yeah.
Excited to see the final. All right. On that note, I think we're winding down. I'm getting hungry. I don't know about anyone else.
Yeah,
I'm getting hungry too.
My hunger.
All right. So I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you in a week. Bye.